This is the ICC Women's T20 World Cup, brought to you by the BBC.
Hello and welcome to Sharjah. It is a cross-Tasman rivalry for you today from the Women's World Cup of 2024. Australia, the reigning champions, 6 times winners of this competition, up against a New Zealand side who had a brilliant victory in their tournament opener against India in Dubai. It promises to be a brilliant game that could go a long way to shaping the outcome of Group A and indeed the potential fate of India, who are a side that we had much expectation for but struggled so badly in that tournament opener for them. So all the details of what is to come, team news and everything else you might need to know shortly, but first let's head out to the middle for the toss. Alison Mitchell alongside the two captains.
Yeah, we're all ready for the toss out in the middle. GS Lakshmi, the match referee, is here along with the two captains, Sophie Devine and Elisa Healy. Elisa, you have the coin.
Head to the call.
Head to the call. Oh, love it that. Elisa, you've won the toss. What are you going to be doing and why?
We're going to have a bat tonight.
And the reasoning for that?
Just because. I think the tournament's shown as a whole it's been hard to chase. Teams have done it well, but hopefully we can get out there, put a score on the board and let our bowlers do the job later.
What do you make of the conditions here in the Sharjah Stadium?
Yeah, obviously a little bit different. We've been keeping an eye on some of the games and how the conditions have varied, but watched the game last night. Obviously a bit more grass on this wicket tonight, so hopefully we could take advantage of that, especially with bat in hand.
And does that play into your team for tonight? Are there any changes to the last match?
Yeah, one change. Grace Harris comes in for Darcy Brown, so we've just brought an impact player in for an impact player, so hopefully she can play her job with the bat tonight.
And would you expect her to bowl a bit as well?
Well, hopefully, yeah. We'll wait and see what happens later on, but we've got ample options, so we'll wait and see.
OK, good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Well, Sophie to come forward for New Zealand. Sophie, what would you have done if you'd won the toss?
Oh, look, we would have had a bat as well. I think everyone knows that the surface here probably gets a little bit tired, but look, really happy to have the opportunity to bowl first and try and restrict Australia as much as possible.
How much confidence has that India win given you? How much has it cemented your belief for this tournament?
Oh, look, I think winning always helps, doesn't it? I think we know that we've been doing the right things for a long period of time, but probably haven't had the results to back it up. But to go out there and put it together on a massive stage was really important for us, but we also know that's one game out of 4. So this one's equally as important, and we obviously want to do the dirty on the Australians here.
Yeah, the rivalry is strong, and you know each other well. The series you had, obviously, coming into this tournament went Australia's way, but does that count for nothing now that you're here?
Oh, look, I think, yeah, World Cups, everyone starts from scratch again, don't they? And this is a one-off game for us. So we would have taken the learnings that we had back in Australia and to be able to come here and apply it. Obviously, conditions are very different to what we experienced over there on the east coast of Australia. So, again, we'll be looking forward to taking this opportunity with both hands.
And what's the balance of your team for tonight?
Just the one change. So Fran Jonas comes in for Jess Kerr.
And thinking around that?
Obviously, spin's going to play a really important part here. We know Fran's really effective in the power play. Not saying that Jess isn't, but we just feel that spin's going to be more effective here tonight.
Good luck tonight, Sophie.
Thank you.
So news from the middle then. It is Australia who have won the toss, and they're going to be batting first.
Thank you very much indeed to Alison Mitchell out there in the middle with the two captains. So Australia, the reigning champions, heavy favourites for this tournament, of course. They tend to be, and they will be going into this game with the opportunity to have a bat first. One change apiece then for these two sides. Darcy Brown had a difficult time of it, bowled one a horror over all sorts of wides and no balls, and so is taken out of the side in place of Grace Harris, powerful middle order player, so she gets an opportunity in this side. New Zealand, well, their experience of the conditions slightly, I suppose, again in Australia's favour. They've won the toss, they're batting first. New Zealand have played at Dubai, whereas Australia's opener was here in Sharjah. New Zealand line up with Susie Bates, Georgia Plimmer, Mealy Kerr, Sophie Devine, the captain, Brooke Halliday, Maddie Green, Izzy Gaze, Rosemary Mayer, who had a lovely game in that win against India, bowled really well. There to Huhu, Eden Carson and Fran Jonas. So the seamer Jess Kerr is out, Fran Jonas is in, and that is the shape of things. Lydia Greenway, World Cup winner, Ashes winner, is alongside me. Lids always look forward to Australia and New Zealand, and there is a potential, if New Zealand could win this game, it would set up a de facto quarter-final between India and Australia.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? And obviously that win against India that New Zealand had was such a confidence booster for them, because coming into the World Cup they hadn't really got much momentum behind them in terms of results and form of players. But when you look at who did well, obviously Sophie Devine was fantastic, 57 not out off just 36 balls. But the key one for me is Georgia Plimmer at the top of the order for New Zealand, 34 off 23. She was the one player who had really struggled. They'd had the series over in England, and she was given the opportunity to open, and she just didn't come off at all. So that would have been a big tick for New Zealand. So I think, Henry, the confidence in that New Zealand camp will be high, and also added to the fact that it is that local derby, if you like, between two massive teams. They will feel that they have a bit of a sniff. They're obviously going to be bowling first. If they can get early wickets, Rosemary Mayer was outstanding in that first game, then you just never know what can happen.
Yeah, I mean, the recent record is unsurprisingly in Australia's favour. They've won 13 of their last 15 matches against New Zealand in T20 cricket, including the last 5 in a row. But New Zealand, I mean, they're an unpredictable side because they'd lost 10 on the bounce. They were horrible in England in the summer, and then they played so brilliantly well to win by 58 runs against India, one of the tournament favourites, as we say. So it's an unpredictable game, this, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it plays out. One thing we do know is, looking throughout our Australian batting lineup, it is just so strong. Alyssa Healy, Beth Mooney, Elise Perry, Ash Gardner, Phoebe Litchfield, Talia McGrath, Georgia Wareham, Grace Harris, Annabelle Sutherland, Sophie Molyneux and Megan Schutt. Legitimately, you could argue that as far down as 10, any of those players would be in the top 2 or 3 in most other sides.
Yeah, you could literally put all of those names into a hat at the start of the day, pull them out and say, right, that's the batting order that we're going to go with. And that's just a sign of how strong this Australian side is. But I think the top order of Mooney and Healy, they're the best opening partnership. I think since 2016 they scored more runs than any other opening partnership in international T20 cricket. You obviously then have Elise Perry, who has been inspiring really in terms of how she's developed her T20 game. She was obviously dropped from the side for a little while because she wasn't quite playing the way that Australia needed her to, and she's really stepped up a gear, particularly with the bat. She hasn't been bowling that much actually, which I think is just a sign as well of how many bowling options they've got, and maybe that her T20 bowling game just isn't quite where it needs to be. But yeah, you've mentioned all the names, Henry, and they just keep coming at you.
You have to find a way against Australia, and it is very difficult. England won that series last year as part of the Women's Ashes, but what a side they are. The two teams out there ready for the national anthems, lining up in front of us, and Australia and New Zealand almost underway. And now the national anthem of Australia, Advance Australia Fair. we go. The national anthems of New Zealand and then Australia. The two sides head back towards the boundary edge, and we're nearly ready to go here in Sharjah, match 10 of this ICC Women's T20 World Cup, brought to you here on BBC Sounds and 5 Sports Extra with me, Henry Moran, Lydia Greenway. We'll also have Tash Farrant and Daniel Norcross with us too. A reminder, Australia winning the toss, batting first, and it is an Australian side currently sitting second in Group A, only behind New Zealand on net run rate. This is the final round of fixtures, second round if you like, with both Australia and New Zealand the only sides yet to play their second match, both victorious in their first, Australia winning quite comfortably against Sri Lanka, and that standout marquee victory for New Zealand against India, who are currently fourth in the table and will be watching on keenly. They would like a New Zealand win here, because New Zealand, having beaten them, it's helpful if they beat everyone else. That's the idea. So we will keep you up to date with how that table looks at the end of the game and how it all might shape out, because it is becoming increasingly that time of the tournament, Lids, where you start working out the permutations and all that sort of thing.
It absolutely is, and I think the best thing about it is if you look at the last 3 years and who's qualified in the semi-final stages, it's been the same 4 teams every time. It's been England, Australia, India and South Africa, but we're in a different situation now, where obviously New Zealand are pushing. You don't know what other results are going to happen in both groups, so that makes it exciting in itself. And New Zealand, they haven't performed well in recent T20 World Cups. They haven't got out of the group stages for the last 3 of them, and so this time you would think they'll be desperate to do that. And not forgetting, it's Sophie Devine's last chance really as a T20 World Cup captain. She's obviously going to step down after this T20 World Cup as captain. She'll continue to play, I would imagine, but I think she just wants to relinquish a bit of that workload and allow herself to focus on playing. So yeah, it's a big game for a number of reasons.
Yeah, you have to go back to March 2021 for the last time New Zealand beat Australia, and they do play each other often, these sides. They'll know each other very well indeed. We are going to have a change up here in the commentary box for the start of the game. Tash Farrant, England bowler, is going to be joined in just a moment by Daniel Norcross. Tash, what are you expecting from today?
Oh yeah, I'm really excited for this game. Obviously Australia are the favourites for this tournament, like they so often are, but New Zealand, like Liz just said, they had a great win against India, so I feel like that confidence might just bring us a bit of a thriller, Dan.
I would love that.
I
would love a thriller. I would love a thriller. This is the battle between 2 quite mundane national anthems and 2 almost identical flags, but they're very, very different teams, aren't they? You've got the flair of New Zealand, the likes of Bates, Devine and Kerr. You've got the metronomic efficiency of Australia. They know how to win, and they invariably do. But New Zealand, they will be buoyed by that 58-run win against India. It was a dominant, it was a surprising, it was a magnificent performance from them that has thoroughly put the cat amongst the pigeons in this group. Now, we're waiting to start, because even though everybody is in position, things have to be done properly. You have to start at precisely the right time. And by my watch, I'll tell you how long it is until precisely that time. Well, I'm afraid to say it's about 40 seconds. So it could be 40 seconds of faffing here with everybody in the right position.
They've peaked.
I have a theory, and you might tell me I'm crazy, but my theory is that actually losing the toss for New Zealand wasn't the worst thing, because Australia can get a little bit obsessed with getting to a certain total, making sure they get there. If they have to chase, you fancy them chasing down almost anything, because they bat very, very deep. But might they just leave a little bit in the locker? They did that quite a bit in South Africa, actually, and they got away with it. They were fortunate against India in that semi-final. As we hear the call for prayer, it is now 6 o'clock. It's just turned 6. And here we go. First delivery is all cut out and missed by Alyssa Healy. It goes through low down to the keeper. And it's Rosemary Mayer who's bowling it, the tall seamer, who we didn't see any of it in England. She wasn't available for that series, and I'm starting to think that she was a bit of a point of difference against India.
Yeah, she's a really good bowler, and actually I played against her in an England A versus New Zealand A series in March earlier this year, and they've got some really good seamers coming through the New Zealand system.
Here comes Mayer. The touch strikes the pad, goes down the leg side. It's taken by the keeper. They absolutely love it. Umpire is unmoved. Now then, they're going to take a look at this. I think they might, you know. Izzy Gaze is convinced there's something on it. They all went up and they're going to have a look. My word, we've got drama straight away. I felt it was pad.
Yeah.
But if it is pad, she did move quite a long way across her stumps, so it might bring...
Yeah, 2 in 1.
2 in 1, exactly.
Got a player
No, it's going down leg.
Caught behind, given not out on field. It's a fair delivery. Just looking at the split screen.
Nowhere near the bat.
Okay, there is a clear gap between the bat and ball.
Yeah,
Come off the pad.
It was the appeal.
So can we go to ball tracking, please?
Oh dear, oh dear. This is going to be one of the easiest Anna Harris decisions she's ever going to make. When she says clear gap, Anna Harris, that is the form of words you would use. She's absolutely correct in doing that. She might also have said, you what?
Henry probably could have parked the car into that space.
Yes, he probably could, just about. Yeah.
Henry had a bit of a shocker.
Pitching outside off, impact is umpire's call and wickets missing. Go back on field. Brenda, you can stay with your not out decision. Stand by.
Rosemary Mayer is laughing.
On screen signal now.
She's laughing because having seen on the screen, she realises what an absolutely diabolical referral that was.
But it was the appeal. Every single person went up for that.
Well, they're
up for it.
They are up for it. Here comes Rosemary Mayer again, and this is defended into the onside. Goes straight to short mid-wicket where Mealy Kerr does the fielding. There is no run. Yes, I mean, it was an absolute beauty that ordinarily, as I'm sure regular watchers of cricket will be aware, when there's an appeal for caught behind, you tend to have to go to ultra edge at least, just to be sure.
Yeah.
Well, if I tell you that the bat was sort of a roundabout off stump and the ball was a roundabout, well, it was impact umpire's call on leg stump. That's the size of the gap. Pushed into the offside, again by Healy, but picks out a fielder. Once again, there is no run. Sophie Devine doing the fielding. I thought, in mitigation to Henry on the parking front today, he was distracted, wasn't he, by people who kept walking around.
Yeah, it's quite a stressful journey to Sharjah on the 8-lane, small motorway. And people don't really love to indicate here. It's just, it's like absolute carnage.
Yes,
I take it back. Henry is doing an amazing job, but I just thought, I'd wind him up a bit.
So this next delivery from Mayer is pushed into the onside. It's going to be the first run as Maddie Green moves to her right from mid-on to field. And they get underway. I mean, the other thing in his defence is that he's got to put up with you and Lydia singing. I mean, in some cases, really rather tunefully, I've got to say. You've got a decent voice on you there, but there's a lot of singing going on.
What, even Lids?
Lids is, maybe Lids is less of the singer. You did a note the other day that caused such shock and surprise in the front of the car, I tell you.
Yeah, I used to really annoy my brother when we were on the way to school in the car, because I can't help but harmonise.
Yeah.
It used to really wind my brother up. We had big fights about that.
Why is he so anti-harmony?
Well, I don't know, he's actually got some pipes, my brother Charlie, but
so it's rivalry,
I don't know, I think, brother, sister, I think it just really got on his nerves. I just can't help it, though. It just happens naturally, Dan.
Dear. Full in defence is Mooney, but she finds a gap to the right of cover, and Mealy Kerr has to sprawl to her right to field so they can get a run, 2 without loss. The Carpenters, brother and sister, weren't they? You could have become a beat combo, you and your brother.
I don't think we're that good.
Well, I beg to differ.
Oh, thanks, Dan.
Yeah, I was very, very impressed. It brightened up. And look, it's not the most fun drive, I've got to say. It's not the longest, but there's a lot of traffic, isn't there?
Yeah, it's quite mundane, but we have got our favourite radio station getting us through. Banger after banger.
Oh, after banger. Tune after tune after tune. The music hots up, I've got to say, a little bit on the way back home.
Oh, yeah, it's a bit more,
in,
as Lids would say, duff.
Yeah, there's a bit of bounce takes place on the radio on the way in.
I think I do more of the singing on the way home.
You do. Eden Carson is into the attack. We were rather impressed with her the other day against India. And she's going to come around the wicket. The left-handed Mooney. Mooney, who is a run machine, it has to be said, scored more the other day. Although what I would say, as Carson is in. This is driven firmly, but a short extra cover, good bit of fielding, prevents the run. There is a long off out there. The ball's going to Amelia Kerr quite a lot at the moment.
Yeah, she's arguably one of their best fielders. Normally see her on the boundary outside of the power play.
As she comes against Carson, and this is worked off the pads into the onside. There's a big gap between square leg and deep mid-wicket, so they're able to trot through for an easy single. Rosemary Mayer does the fielding, 3 without loss. What I did establish was that we keep on saying how punishing it is, how hot it is, how the conditions are difficult, but you really know that they must be when watching Beth Mooney. She batted for only, they punted the chase down at about 16 overs, 15, 16 overs, and she was exhausted at the end of that.
She was exhausted because she didn't find the boundary sort of, you know, very often at all, so she had to run so many quick singles and twos. She actually batted in the cap for most of that innings.
Right, here comes Carson over the wicket, the right-handed Healy, who drives into the covers but can't beat the fielders. And so this stately progress continues. 3 without loss after 9 balls.
Yeah, you don't normally see Healy on only 1 run after 6 balls. She's just trying to get a feel of this wicket. But New Zealand, they've started right on the money here.
They're eagerly anticipating in the ring as this next delivery is shoveled into the onside to wide long on. Healy trots through for a single. It's great to watch the fielders ready to pounce, eager, like a cat stalking its prey.
Yeah, you're just getting that feel from tonight. It's just like, sort of, everyone seems a little bit on edge, but New Zealand, they're really sort of hunting these quick singles down. Amelia Kerr's actually just dropped back onto the inner ring there. Back
round the wicket, the left-handed Mooney comes Carson. Oh dear, and there is a bit of a misfield, just as we've been praising the New Zealand fielding. And they've got through for 2, they're going to come back for 3. The throw comes in. It's not quite as strong as it would need to be. That's good running from the Australians. And Healy's back. 3 more to the total, 7 without loss. It was pushed off the back foot into the covers, and it didn't go straight field, but oh dear, I mean, that's a horrible kind of... Is that Brooke Halliday there? Yeah. Just sort of like going over the top of the ball. And it wasn't going at any great speed. Healy faces up now, drives in the air, over extra cover. It's going to land safely. It will then not exactly plug, but slow down on this spongy outfield as Devine runs back to field. They get through for a couple of runs. 9 without loss, 7 off the over, 2 have gone. Healy 4, Mooney has 5.
Yeah, that was probably just the first ball that Healy got that was in her area. She loves anything full, just to get her hands through the ball. But as we know, we've seen a lot of games here at Sharjah in the last week. It's just such a slow outfield. So Australia will know, having played here in their first game, they're going to have to run every single run because we don't see many boundaries here in Sharjah.
Now it is completely dark. It is the light has been and gone, as it does so quickly when you get closer to the equator. We're right by the Tropic of Cancer. Is it that tropic? I think so. It's about 20 miles south of us when I looked on the map the other day. And as a result, you go from light to dark very, very quickly. We don't have a massive crowd in today, much as we didn't yesterday when England were playing against South Africa. Fran Jonas into the team and into the attack. Left arm, round arm, really. Bowls a short ball into the pitch, which is pulled away by Mooney down to deep backward square leg for a single. Yep. When you're talking about the highest release points in cricket, it's safe to say that Fran Jonas is not going to feature.
No, she got away with that one because that was a long hop. It was short, it was leg side, but just the single. She's got funny action as well, Fran Jonas.
Falls down, doesn't she? She's in again, and there's reverse sweep, big appeal given. Healy's been sent on her way. She went for the reverse. She missed the ball. It's hit her, I think, in front, but Mooney's saying it might have gone down. It might be going down, so they're going to have a look. Now, perhaps it has. If it hasn't turned at all, and with the angle, the way Fran Jonas's arm comes right around in a sort of whippy arc, a little bit like a clothesline, those ones you put up that swirl round in the back garden,
yeah, I know
you know, with a pole in it.
Yeah, this.
We have a player review for LBW given out on field. It's a fair delivery. Just roll that through.
Impact might be outside here, actually.
Okay, I've got a clear gap.
Yeah, it looks like it might be.
I think she's going to survive because of
close
impact.
to the glove there. Just take it back, and I want to run through that one more time.
Oh, but I don't know.
It's not hit her yet, I don't think.
It's not hit her yet, no. Oh, this is very exciting.
Okay,
We've
so
got this new
clear
technology, haven't we?
Yes.
Where we can see a
clear
split
gap on
screen of the
left-hand side.
angles.
Keep rolling through.
Keep rolling through. Keep rolling,
through.
keep rolling.
It's not rolling.
Okay, satisfied there is no bat involved. We'll move to ball tracking when ready.
That's going to be umpire's call.
What do you think on impact? Might even be missing. It's tight. Because she has got quite a long way outside her off stump. Then
Ball
playing
tracking
that.
coming up.
Right, it starts a long
Pitching
way
outside
wide.
off, and the impact is outside.
The impact
Go
is
back
outside.
on field. Brenda, I need you to change your decision to not out. Stand by. On-screen signal now.
Well, I tell you now, it was hitting the
Retained.
stumps. It would have hit probably off and middle.
I hate
So
that
it wasn't
roll.
going down the leg side, but because Healy got so far outside the line when she went for the reverse, she's survived. You don't like the rule?
I don't get the rule.
Actually, in a way, I don't get the rule, really. I
And
don't
as a
get the
left
way.
arm seamer, I hated the pitch outside leg.
Yeah, in fairness,
That really annoyed me.
the game would be very different if we didn't. Anyway, it's a dot ball. Healy's been reprieved and she drives the next ball in the air, up and over the infield. One bounce, two bounces, it's slowing down and it thuds onto the sponge for four. So, New Zealand, they thought they'd got rid of the dangerous Healy. They hadn't. And then the next ball goes for four. How oft is the way? 14 without loss.
Yeah, that's more like the Healy that we know. Just slightly over pitch from Fran Jonas. Hasn't got her length right yet. She's only bowled one in the right area from her first three balls, but a lovely shot from Healy.
She's in once again. This is full and heaved a bit into the onside. Fielders chasing towards it. Going to get there. Throw comes in, but they get back for a couple of runs. It's decent work by Mealy Kerr in the outfield, but she had a lot of ground to make from deep mid-wicket round to a sort of square leg position. 16 without loss. 16 balls have been bowled.
It looks like a conscious effort here from Healy to really target Fran Jonas. This is her first game in this World Cup. She's a very young left-arm spinner.
She's in once again. This is tossed up. This is driven up and over the infield again. Pretty much the same as the ball before, only it skips on faster and over the boundary for four. And these are problematic signs for New Zealand and for Jonas. 20 without loss. Healy to 14.
Yeah, carbon copy of the ball a couple of balls ago. Just over-pitched again from Fran Jonas. Doesn't normally get any turn. And Healy just stays a little bit leg side of it because she's got that mid-off up in the ring. And all she needs to do is get it over that inner ring. But another brilliant shot. But Fran Jonas, she just hasn't found her length here tonight.
And she is again. It's down the leg side. Wide will be signalled. It's sort of stopped for the pads of Izzy Gaze, but not taken cleanly. But they can't get an extra run. Just the one that they get for the wide. 12 runs have come from the first 5 balls of this, the third over. There's Jonas, who's in the side for Jess Kerr, possibly because of the nature of this pitch, and this outfield is in short, and this is shovelled up to wide, long on. Maddie Green runs to her right to field. Throws in on the bounce. Oh, and a vicious throw at that somewhat startles the bowler, Jonas. End of an expensive over. 13 from it. Australia 22 without loss after 3. Healy 15. Mooney has 6.
Yeah, not the best over there for New Zealand. They had a brilliant first 2 overs, but you just felt that Healy wanted to put the pressure on the 20-year-old Fran Jonas. She didn't really get her length right at all. Just strayed too full on a couple of occasions, and Healy capitalised on that. Just felt that, you know, she really wanted to put pressure. She knows that Fran Jonas is young. She knows that this is her first T20 World Cup game in this year's T20 World Cup. So good effort from Alyssa Healy. She's well on her way after a slow start.
And we need to congratulate Alyssa Healy on a tremendous achievement. I'll come to it in a moment as Healy now works the first ball of a new over from Eden Carson up towards wide, long on for a single. It's in the air for a while, but there's nobody at mid-on, so she was always safe. Going to hypercourse, and therefore the truth. Alyssa Healy is the fastest woman to 3,000 T20 international runs in terms of balls faced. 2,321 balls. That's all it's taken her, which is pretty remarkable. I'll give you an idea of the next in the list. Short, Mooney works this into the onside, just to the left of mid-wicket, I suppose you would say. Who runs to the left of the fielding, Rosemary Mayer. 2-3-2-1's the magic number for Alyssa Healy. 2-4-6-1 for Smriti Mandana. 2-4-7-0 for Sophie Devine, and 2-5-9-7 for Meg Lanning. the next quickest. This is tossed up, driven over extra cover for 4. That's a shot of real power. Healy looks on it today, I tell you. That's a great shot. She moves to 20, 28 without loss, and Australia are on fire here.
Yeah, she's eyeing up that offside boundary with all the fielders inside the ring on that offside. All she needs to do is get it over that inner ring, but that one was hit with the most power so far tonight. A brilliant shot from Alyssa Healy. She looks on it tonight.
Next delivery is clipped into the onside, out to deep mid-wicket. They'll just be the single. 29 without loss, 3.4 overs is all that's been bowled, and we've been talking about what a difficult place this is to score runs quickly. Well, Healy's 21 off 16, she's going really well. And as Carson gets the bowl to Mooney, which may be some kind of relief, but it won't be a great deal. It is Beth Mooney. And Mooney waits and then drives, but can't beat the fielder at short extra cover. It goes straight to her on the edge of the ring, no run.
Yeah, this is a better matchup for Eden Carson, trying to get some sort of spin out of this wicket. We actually haven't seen too much turn on this Sharjah wicket. It's just more slow and low. Carson fires in a bit faster, and that beats the bat of Mooney. He looks to drive it, spins past the outside edge. Good half stop by Izzy Gaze. She parries it into the covers, and there's no run. Now, Sophie Devine has been forced to turn earlier than she otherwise would do. I would suggest to Leah Tahuhu, who normally bowls, or did in the last game at any rate, bowled outside the power play, didn't she? So after the travails of Jonas. Yeah, and without Jessica, normally their power play bowler, she swings that new ball, but they just decided to go with Fran Jonas tonight for an extra spinner. You can't blame New Zealand for that. It's a spinner-friendly wicket, but as you say, Dan, Leah Tahuhu normally more consistent outside of the power play. She used to bowl a lot inside the power play, but sometimes just struggled to control that away shape. She's got a low, slingy action, but she's got the new ball in her hand now. I don't think it will swing too much. She might even go for that cross-seam tactic, see if one will just stay nice and low, but we're going to see her tonight inside the power play. Right, she surveys the field. She's got 5 in the ring on the offside. Boundary runner at deep mid-wicket. As the first ball is heaved again. A horrible shot from Healy. Really foul shot, but it goes off the inside half of the bat and makes its way up to deep mid-wicket, where Georgia Plimmer does the fielding. You get a single, 30 without loss. Yeah, she's trying to send everything now, isn't she? Alyssa Healy, she's got sort of 3 fours to her name so far, and she charged down the wicket. First ball to Leah Tahuhu. It was actually, I thought it was in the slot. I thought it was coming towards us for a second down, but just stayed a little bit low and just a bit of a dirty hack in the end. You'll leap in front of me, won't you, and take the catch? Oh, yeah. One-handed. Would you mind? Well, I got Lydia Greenway in the box. Oh, yeah, we'll be all right. Yeah. That's too right. Mooney just swings at one outside the off stump, which is given wide, and it's gone through low to Izzy Gaze behind the stumps. No run. For the left-hander, feels slightly different. It's going to change even more. No, it's just a change of personnel, actually. As a short third goes in, point extra, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket, short, fine leg, deep square and a deep cover. Now everybody's moving around. It's like musical chairs here. I think Susie Bates was at short third, where she wouldn't normally be, but she just put herself in that mid-off region, which I think is a good call. Tahuhu is in. This is carved at a thick inside edge. They're going through for the quick single. Shy at the stumps at the non-striker's end. Does hit, but Mooney was comfortably home. And they pick up another single. Mooney's looking slightly out of sorts. She's not really struck one out the middle yet. She's just berating herself a bit. She's chuntering. Yeah, she can't quite believe that she's not timing the ball. We're so used to her timing the ball from the off. Maybe she's just still trying to catch her breath from the last innings. We saw her in those drinks breaks in the last game having umbrellas. She sort of had ice packs on her head. She was absolutely exhausted. Here is Tahuhu once more into Healy. Gives us some room. Down the leg side it goes, and it's a goalkeeper-style save from Izzy Gaze. A horrible one to have to take. Wait to see the umpire's signal. Oh, late by, so there was a little bit on it. Oh, it's a great stop there. Yeah, it's brilliant. I thought for a moment it was going to be given as a wide, but it must have got a little tickle off the pad.
33 without loss, halfway through the 5th over. South Africa started a little bit like this yesterday against England and were then hauled back inside the power play. That's got to be what New Zealand are hoping here, because at the moment Australia have made a dominant start. Edged. No, not edged. I thought it was edged. It's been driven over the top of extra cover. It's optical illusion, this ground. And they're going to get through for 2. Good bit of relay fielding involving Susie Bates and Georgia Plimmer. Keeps the score into 2, 35 without loss.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a shot of desperation there.
It was, and you know, she's just not quite getting it out of the middle. That one was very slicey, so see why you think that did go. I thought that was going to short third as well, but just kind of gets on the outside half of the bat and splails over that extra cover region.
Ooh, 2 in, shoveled into the onside, but straight to short mid-wicket, no run. Splails is a word I want.
That's not a word.
I know, we're having it. We're having it. You've invented the K-donk.
No, it's Kadonk, Dan, not the K-donk.
The K-donk.
I did get a few tweets actually about my spelling of Kadonk. Thought it was a bit unnecessary. They thought
what's wrong with it?
Well, a lot of people thought it should start with a Q.
No.
Not the Quadonk.
No, not having that. 2 in. That's nicely played by Mooney as she gives herself a bit of room, then pushes it through backward point. They're coming through for a second. This will be tight with a good throw. It was a good throw, but the running is sensational. The Australians, it's a great feature of their play. They are proper athletes. They tear back and forth. They run shuttle runs in their sleep. I reckon, actually, literally. 37 without loss. 5 overs have gone. 7 runs off that Tahuhu over. More from you, Tash, on what a splendid start Australia have made in this marquee fixture in Sharjah. And then it will be Henry Moran.
Yeah, really good start from Australia. They're going at 7.4 and over, 37 off the first 5. You'd normally think that was a little bit slow, but if you've been keeping up with us here on TMS, the Sharjah wicket has been slow and it's been really hard to score quickly, so a very good start from Australia, and it looks like Alyssa Healy is in the mood tonight.
Certainly does. I think Dad's got a new deodorant on. There's something minty. 37 without loss. Here comes Mayer. Oh, exposing the stumps, taking a chance, but getting the reward. Alyssa Healy slashing the ball over backward point, and it whizzes down to the boundary. She moves to 26. Australia flying, 41 without loss early on in the 6th over.
Yeah, if it's up, it's off for Healy tonight. That one just a little bit full and too wide as well from Rosemary Mayer. She bowls at good pace, but that's too easy for Alyssa Healy with all of the offside up. That's an absolute freebie from Mayer.
There's just a degree of chance because of the step back she took. Pace taken off at this time. It's gone high in the air. Surely a fielder will take it. Running in from cover. Safe hands from Plimmer. And Healy goes. She looks annoyed at herself, but that is clever bowling. Yep. Pace taken right off it by Mayer. It went spooning up in the air. And Healy, giving it the full beans, only sends it skyward.
Really clever bowling from Mayer. She got carted over that point region the ball before. This time holds her length back, but the best thing about that was she just ran her fingers over the right side of the ball. Bit of an off cutter just to take the pace off, so Healy couldn't get any momentum through the shot. And we've seen a lot of drop catches in this T20 World Cup, so I just was a little bit nervous for Georgia Plimmer under that one, but safe hands in the end, and Healy has to go. Yeah,
we have seen drop catches, easier to catch here because you haven't got those funny floodlights, the ring of fire as it's known at Dubai. So a wicket falls. To the middle comes Elise Perry, who is wearing that old batting helmet we spoke about the other day that is a much paler green than anyone else's because she's had it for so long, and there's a little bit of superstition there. She doesn't want to change it, understandably. If something's worked for you, why change what is an effective part of your kit bag?
It must stink though, right?
Do you reckon?
I mean, surely she has to like wash inside a helmet. There's like pads that you can remove, so I mean surely she puts that in the wash, because otherwise it wouldn't smell very nice.
You make a good point.
Maybe that gets her going.
41 for 1. This has worked into the onside. Oh. What a shot to start things off from Elise Perry. Worked out past mid-wicket. It will be stopped before it reaches the boundary. Maddie Green picks up, and Perry gets through for 2. Lovely timing.
Oh, that was such a nice shot. Just lent on it. It was a great length from Rosemary Mayer. She's finding a little bit of in shape to the right-handed Elise Perry, but she leans on that and just flicks it past that mid-wicket region. And even though it was just a couple of runs probably at another ground that would have gone for 4, but that was just a delicious shot.
Really was. 43 for 1. Here comes Mayer running in, and it goes away into the offside, and it's collected, and there is no run. Nicely timed again. Perry, who is such a classy operator, and it's really interesting. We spoke about this time and again, but how she's adapted the game over the years. And you think back to that World Cup final 2010 that Australia won, and the way that she bowled at the end of that, and how this tear-away fast bowler has become this Rolls-Royce of a batter now.
Yeah, and she has been out of this T20 team, so she has had to adapt her game to make sure she's back in.
Perry waiting, defending a full delivery that had just a little bit of a way shape.
She's just the ultimate pro, Elise Perry. People say that she's in the nets for the longest. She's at training first and last. I've seen her every time I've been in the gym in the team hotel, because we are staying in the team hotel, which is, is an odd one. But every time I'm in that gym, so is Elise Perry. She is the ultimate athlete.
Mayer running in, final ball of the power play is angled towards backward point. There is no run, so 6 from the over. Australia in a very strong position though, 43 for 1. They're going at a run rate of 7.17, and against Australia, it's not really quite so much about taking wickets as it is finding a way of restricting them, because whoever comes, clearly it slows them down.
The batting order is ridiculous,
isn't it?
I've got on my team sheet Annabelle Sutherland coming at 9. Sophie Molyneux coming in at 10, who used to open the batting in the Big Bash for the Renegades, so they probably could reverse the order and be absolutely fine.
I remember when a team did that against my side yesteryear, and then number 11 opened the batting and scored 100. Or 98, I think it was, but still.
Oh, were you captain? Because that's a tough day at the office.
No, I wasn't captain. I was behind the stumps.
Oh.
Put down a chance, obviously.
On 10 or something. Was he on 10?
It might have been. It was early. Oh, don't. 43 for 1. Beth Mooney, 12 from 12. It's not quite as hot as it was the other day for her, which was just brutal conditions. Here comes Jonas then with a left arm spin. Mooney slogs that away into the onside, and it was a slog, but she gets a good piece of it out towards long on, where the energetic fielding of Mealy Kerr will see just 2 runs taken. 45 for 1 is the score. It's worth pointing out that you speak about how fit the Australian team are, and the day after Beth Mooney looked as though she could barely walk, having fought so hard in the heat. I saw her walking out of the hotel with a golf clubs, middle of the day, heading for a round of golf. You think,
just the easy 18 holes, no problem. Surely she got a buggy.
You'd have
no, she probably didn't. They probably never get buggies, the Aussies.
No. That's half
get the steps up.
The best part of golf, the buggy.
Oh, yeah.
45 for 1. Mooney is on 14. That's dropped short down the leg side. That'll be wide. 46 for 1 now.
I think Fran Jonas might have a tricky innings ahead of her, because I just feel that the Aussies have spoken about when Fran Jonas comes on to bowl, we're going to target her.
In now, and there's a sweep attempted down towards fine leg. It goes as a chase on for Eden Carson. Will pick up, and it'll actually just be the 1 run. That was good fielding. If you want to join the conversation with us, get in touch. tms@bbc.co.uk. We've got our live text commentary as well, where you can see the in-play highlights for listeners in the UK in the company of Tim Abraham, who's keeping things going, and then it's brilliant. He's got a marvellous picture of you on this.
I've been absolutely shafted with that picture. Is that you, Henry?
No, that's not me, because occasionally you'll get quoted, and so, you talked about the clever bowling from Rosemary Mayer there. And the picture,
you can't look past the picture, though.
Jonas with that round arm action bowls to Perry, clipping into the onside, no run. But it's marvellous, because the picture is like you're sort of on the terraces at Millwall, and you're not terribly pleased with a refereeing decision. You're howling. In comes Jonas, and this is driven back towards her. Nice, the stop once again. Decent over this so far. 4 from it.
Yeah, she's holding her nerve here, Fran Jonas, and she's bowling in good areas the last couple of balls. She just needs to try and make sure she can get out of this over unscathed with the boundary.
Jonas bowls. Oh, big appeal for LBW. What are they saying? No. Oh, they're having burned a review already. Was that sliding?
Hold it. I feel like we're at a funny angle here, Henry. We're not in direct line to the pitch. We're kind of looking down, sort of. We're on the right of the pitch, sort of diagonally.
We're at long on if Elise Perry's at the far end.
Yeah, long on. That's the one. That's the one.
How's captain? If you just go that right side of the pitch, in comes Jonas. Bowls a ball which is slashed into the turf by Perry, but a very good conclusion to the over with 4 dot balls. Thank you, Fran. Fran? You're not Fran. Who's Fran?
Thanks, Dan.
Fran's bit. Oi, excuse me. You can call me many things, but I'm not being compared with him. Right then, Lydia Greenway is going to join us. England Ashes and World Cup winner. We're in Sharjah, where we're watching New Zealand against Australia from Group A. It's a big game, this, because the winner will have made it 2 from 2. India, we think about, having done the maths and calculations, given net run rates and everything else, will be desperate for a New Zealand win, because it basically means that if they beat Australia, they've got the prospect of knocking Australia out, which would be quite the thing, if results were to go sort of as we think they might. So that would be a de facto quarter-final, which would be quite a thing. But we're a long way from that, certainly, given the fact that Australia have started quite so well. 47 for 1 is a lovely platform.
Yeah, it is really nicely done, especially Alyssa Healy. I know she's out now, but that's what your openers need to do, especially here at Sharjah. You have to make the most of the power play when the ball is harder and newer. Fielding restrictions are in play.
The leg spin of Amelia Kerr. It's a very full delivery first up, and as Susie Bates moves to her right at fine leg, a single is taken by Beth Mooney. She's on 16. As we see the cars going up and down the highway, it's quite a long drive, rush hour, in this part of the world.
It is, isn't it? And you're doing a great job, Henry.
Well, yeah, I mean, the sledging about the parking, I thought was a bit harsh. Given that the 45 kilometres prior to that,
you did a good job.
It was all right.
Yeah, not too many near misses.
48 for 1. This is played from very deep in the crease by Perry, who can't get it through the infield. Well, I know it's one of those keep your wits about you sort of vibes, isn't it?
It is. Especially as Tash said, there's not much indicating going on.
No. Here comes Kerr. Bowls a ball which is worked down the ground by Perry, and a single will be added. Moving that score to 49 for 1. And the thing is, it's not just sort of your standard family saloon. It might be a Lamborghini that appears, or Ferrari.
And with the fact that we have to drive on the right-hand side of the road, which is always confusing, because I can never work out if we're in the slow lane or the fast lane.
That's always the one, isn't it? Yeah. Forward comes Mooney, trying to meet it on the full. She can't do so, and it's driven back to the bowler Kerr, who picks up. He's doing a good job here as well. 49 for 1, the Australia score. Things have just slowed up a little bit out of the power play. I'm now trying to work out in my head. I'll know it when I do it.
What's that? The fast lane?
Yeah.
It's the left one, isn't it, I think?
Kerr bowls, late cut, beautifully played. That's such a good shot from Beth Mooney. The ball rushing across the outfield. Jonas hot in pursuit, herring after it. Will stop the ball before it reaches the ropes, and it's just 2 taken. 50 up for Australia, though. 51 for 1. The fact that you ended that with, I think...
Yeah. If in doubt, just stay in the middle lane.
No, you're not meant to go in the middle lane.
Well, everyone else does.
No, Lids, you're not meant to. You get in trouble for that. 51 for 1. 1 ball left to the 8th over. In comes Amelia Kerr to finish it. And worked into the onside by Mooney, who's just gently accumulating at the moment. Australia with a good platform. 52 for 1 after 8 overs. Interestingly, when we... were watching the two sides warming up, there was a very long and intense conversation between Sophie Devine, the New Zealand captain, and her troops. And it was clear they're really up for this. And you'd expect them to be.
Yeah, definitely. I saw a few of them earlier, actually. Susie Bates was there, Amelia Kerr as well. They just had a bit of lunch, and they were really looking forward to tonight's game. And I think, I mentioned it earlier, just that win against India would have given them so much confidence. And it's just a reminder that they can do it. I think we obviously remember them from the summer, and they really struggled against England. But when you look down at the lineup that they've got some very good cricketers there. Obviously, Leah Tahu, who's been a welcome addition back into the side. Some good youngsters as well. Saw a couple of them in the under-19 T20 World Cup in 2023. So, yeah, see what they can do.
Here comes Jonah, spin from both ends. This is down the leg side. Half an appeal for a little tickle, but there's nothing on it, so it'll be wide to start the over. Yeah, a strong New Zealand is, you think back to 10, 15 years ago, it was very much England, Australia and New Zealand fighting for the trophies.
Yeah, it was. They were runners-up for the first 2 years in the T20 World Cup.
Jonas worked into the onside by Mooney, who's charging towards us, looking to try and find a second run, but again, good fielding. Mealy Kerr fields out there on the mid-wicket boundary. Just the one taken. 54 for 1. Duncan emails from Poole. Hi guys, listening at work while making yacht furniture. I had to turn the radio up. We've just had the most horrendous hailstorm in Dorset. No danger of that here, I say, but there was an amber warning for weather yesterday, for rain.
A bit of rain, yeah. Well, it was quite cloudy, wasn't it? A yacht. I wonder if he owns it.
Here comes the next delivery as it's slapped down the ground from Perry. Not a bottom-handed that as it went bouncing towards Maddie Green at long on. 1 run taken, 55 for 1. It looks very sense pitch. It looks very smart.
There we go.
That looks quite luxury, doesn't it?
It does. It looks comfortable.
Yeah.
Very grey.
Yeah.
You can accessorise with that, can't you? Get a few bright cushions in there.
Here comes Jonas. Bowling a ball to Mooney as she comes halfway down the track to meet it. She'll get a single out towards deep mid-wicket. 56 for 1. I think you probably are right. I'd never really considered accessorising furniture, but it's not really my area.
No.
I don't think I go for very dull, plain colours. I'm not like Daniel, who's quite good at this sort of thing. Jonas into bowl to Perry, who goes hard at that, down the ground. Could be a chance of a catch. Oh, terrible drop. Terrible drop down below us from Maddie Green. What a moment that could have been. It went straight to her. And again in this tournament, we've seen a catch put down when there was no reason, no obvious reason for it to be anything but a simple catch.
Oh, this is a massive moment in the game. It was Maddie Green out in the deep. She got into such a good position and she's just shelled it.
Jonas to Mooney, who comes down the track, whips into the onside, out towards the boundary at wide long on. They'll turn for a second run that will be taken. Green it is who throws. She'll be thinking about having missed that chance, which is, again, nobody means to drop them. We've heard that cliche time and again, but I just don't understand why we're seeing so many.
No, I'm with you, Henry. I don't either. And to drop Elise Perry, what was she on then? Was she on 5 or something like 12 deliveries? So that could be really costly. I think that was how Elise Perry was out the other evening as well, trying to go big down the ground.
Slightly quicker delivery, which is helped into the leg side. It's not a great ball, that, but this is a slow outfield, and Mooney can only get a single. She's calling for a drink. 9 overs gone. 60 for 1 is the score, and one of the England support staff mentioned this the other day, saying keep an eye on teams, particularly Australia are good at it, which is around the 10th over when you're going to get a drinks break. Overs 9 and 11 as well. You'll often see players calling for drink just so you get a little bit more extended time in the middle of the innings, just to maximise the amount of recharge you get.
I think it was Danny White for England yesterday. She was asking for drinks and she was doing the tactic of taking her gloves off, her helmet off, adjusting everything, having a really slow drink and then taking her time on to get everything back on again. Yeah,
Daniel and I had a very high-intensity cup of coffee sitting outside earlier, and that felt quite hard work.
Yeah, it is just hot sitting outside. Which one did you go to? Did you go to the Triangle Cup Cafe?
No, we did go to the one that serves its coffee in cones. We went to the one round the corner from there.
Oh yes.
And we did some calculations. We're preparing for this match, and we're trying to work out exactly how the group might play out. 60 for 1. And then started discussing moral philosophy, actually. This is worked down the ground by Mooney, straight back past the bowler. And it picks up pace across those advertising sheets that go across the outfield. 2 runs taken, 62 for 1. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but anyway, we did. which is surprisingly highbrow from the normal nonsense that's discussed, and batting averages and everything else. But the outcome of it all was that we sort of saw hoving into view of New Zealand can win this game. What a game between Australia and India it'd be. This is in the air. Has it been taken? No. Drops just short of Mealy Kerr. It was one of those where you're waiting for the reaction. Everyone is of the fielder who will confirm the outcome, or at least what they think has happened, but it drops just short at cover.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think Mealy Kerr had done everything she could have done. Maybe she could have, dived further forward for it.
A quicker ball this time from Carson, as Mooney will get a single into the onside. Don't mind that, Eads. Comes from Izzy Gaze behind the stumps. 63 for 1. The partnership's worth 22 off 27, so it's been pretty slow going from Australia after the quick-fired innings of 26 from the outstanding Alyssa Healy, the Australia captain. Carson again with the off-spin. That's a little bit leg-side-ish. Perry whipping the ball away out to backward square leg. It feels like, though we've seen dropped catches, or one bad drop catch, it feels like New Zealand have been pretty good ground fielding wise today. Yeah,
they have been, and I think that's something that every team will want to pride themselves on, especially in the power play, because you know it's not for 4 if it's through, because it's such a slow outfield, but you know if you get a dive in, you're going to build that pressure in the power play, which is so important.
Carson is in, coming forward is Mooney, lofting the ball away over cover. Lovely shot, that's going to bring 4. What a good shot that is. And Mooney's such a fine player, honestly. Watching the way that she goes about her game, all control, even those slightly more aggressive shots feel like they're so well calculated and placed, and it's a brilliant shot. 4 runs scored. She's to 31. Australia 68 for 1.
Yeah, that was a lovely shot from Beth Mooney. She just ups her strike rate. She gets into her innings.
Carson is in. This is swept by Mooney. She's not got all of it. It goes down past the keeper. Ward's fine leg. Susie Bates will pick up. Just waiting to see if there was anything on that. Over and drinks, says Sue Redfern. Much to the relief of everybody, no doubt. With the score at 69 for 1 at the halfway stage. Australia on top, no doubt about that. Various ice cubes are falling out of a towel that's being carried on by one of the New Zealand entourage, but they won't be there for long. They'll melt away in no time. 69 for 1 then, 10 overs gone. Lids, what have you made of the first half of the innings?
I think this is a good start from Australia, considering the highest score that we've had so far here at Sharjah was England yesterday against South Africa, 124. And so I think, for Australia, they'd be thinking if they can kick on here, and with the batting order that they've obviously got Elise Perry there who will try and anchor the innings, you would imagine. But then you have people like Ash Gardner, and then the left-hander of Phoebe Litchfield, which will be a real headache for the spinners of New Zealand, because she'll reverse, she will scoop, she will paddle. She'll play the orthodox sweep as well. They just keep coming at you, Henry. I could just list their whole 11. Talia McGrath, Grace Harris, Georgia Wareham, who's been coming in at 3 at times for Australia. So, I think the key for New Zealand will be a little bit of damage limitation, which if you can't get wickets, you have to be smart with your plans.
I think they've done that pretty well.
Yeah, they have. They're just being mindful of that single wicket that has fallen, which will just allow Australia that licence, I suppose, to really go from ball 1.
And Perry, 6 from 13. It doesn't sound great at this stage, but you know that 2 shots can change it all. The blue and red lights of a police vehicle go streaming down the highway to our right. The shops that are beginning to open up for the evening as well. And it's a lively, bustling part of town here in Sharjah. A very different vibe from Dubai, where you've got the lights and the glitz and the glamour and the shininess. Sharjah has, it's an older place. The buildings are older. The roads are a little bit narrower, and it's a fascinating place to come to, and 2 very distinct styles to them, certainly. And here in Sharjah, it's been a slower pitch. That is one thing that we can tell you. Between the 2 venues, it is such a treat to be here, bringing you this tournament, every ball of it. Right then, Daniel Norcross is standing by. Drinks have been taken, and halfway stage of the innings, 69 for 1 the score. Lydia Greenway, some more thoughts from you on what we might see from Australia here, as a gentleman in an India shirt below us takes his seat, and then Daniel will join you.
Thanks, Henry. Yeah, I think Beth Mooney now looks in the mood. She's passed that one runner ball mark, 32 off 27, and just when you look at her first 10 balls, that strike rate is normally about 100, but after that it increases pretty sharply up to 140, and I think that's what we'll see a bit more of. Beth Mooney trying to take on the Kiwi bowlers, Dan.
That was her first four.
Beth Mooney's?
Yeah.
Was it?
All this time.
It felt like she's hit a lot more fours because of the shots that she's played.
Yeah.
And obviously the slow outfield as well.
Well, she's the only person in the innings to have hit a four that isn't Alyssa Healy. I mean, granted, there are only 3 batters out there, but Elise Perry is leading a charmed life. She's rather dotting up at the moment. I wonder what Grace Harris is thinking, sitting there waiting to have a dart, as this is clipped away, carved really, out through backward point and down to the boundary for 4. The first ball from Leah Tahuhu since the drinks break. There was width. Mooney went after it, and it was not a million miles away from the fielder at backward point. It wasn't at catchable height. It was close to it, though, and a much taller person would have been able to get there. But they would have had to be pretty tall, truth be told.
Yeah. I'm not too sure about this with Leah Tahuhu. Pace on the ball.
In she comes again. Mooney waits and drives a full toss out into the covers, going straight to Plimmer, who's on the deep cover boundary, and they get through for one more. Yes, I'm just thinking about the firepower that Australia have got there, and was chatting off there with Tash.
With Fran.
With Fran, yes, with Fran. About, you know, when you got the likes of Talia McGrath and Grace Harris, and big hitters down the order.
Yeah.
Georgia Wareham was put up to pinch it, wasn't she?
Yeah. But that's funny, when you know you have such a strong batting lineup, if you're the batter in and you're a decent player and you are dotting up a bit, you're thinking, and you're looking at the dugout and you're thinking, God, one of these next players coming in could probably do a better job.
Exactly. Grace Harris prowling around, desperate to smash it to all parts. Tahuhu in. This is all nicely played by Perry, but she won't quite beat the fielder, Eden Carson, who does very well diving to her left. She can't stop the single and she parries it, but she does prevent what could well have been 3 further runs, because that was struck well by Perry. Best looking shot she's played today, as a man nearly falls over the seats in front of us. And he could do with just staying where he is, though, because his head for a moment got perilously close to obscuring my view. No, not that he should be thinking about that. Tahuhu is in, and Mooney drives crisply again. This is running away towards the boundary. This couldn't make it there. Plimmer's in pursuit, but she does well. Moving to her left, she made a lot of ground and stopped that before it strikes the boundary. It's such a strange outfield here. It's almost like there's a little gap between the surface layer of grass, isn't it, and the ground underneath. Almost like there's just a bit like if you newly laid AstroTurf on something, but you didn't quite pull it tight.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
I do know what you mean. Like a spongy. It is spongy, isn't it?
It is. Tahuhu's going round the wicket to Mooney, who cuts. This time she'll find Plimmer more easily. Goes straight to her. They get one more. 78 for 1. Perry back on strike. Coming to the end of the 11th over. This feels like a big total at the moment for Australia. New Zealand do need to make the breakthrough, you fancy, because Australia are making very comfortable progress on what is a difficult place to bat. We've seen a couple of 4s from Mooney, 4 4s from Alyssa Healy. Perry, though, yet to get going, and she works this nicely away along the ground, but it'll only be a single, taking her to 8 from 15. What might have been 79 for 1. 11 overs gone. Mooney has 40 of 31. Her excellent World Cup continues, and someone's running on with a helmet, or the keeper, or a hat. Helmet, I think. I think Izzy Gaze is going to stand up to Mealy Kerr, who's going to come into bowl. See, this just feels a bit ominous, doesn't it?
It does, and I think they have got a few spinners, but they've got Rosemary Mayer and Leah Tahuhu, who you'd imagine would need to bowl a few of those, but I'm not convinced that that's the right way to go. You saw other teams who have played here England played 16 overs of spin in their first 2 games, each game, So I just think you've got to stick with spin here.
Well, Amelia Kerr's got 3 left, and this is her first one, and it's driven, first ball driven straight back over her head for Elise Perry's first boundary. So, yep, she's dotted up for a while now, but now she's seeing it well. She's just good use of the feet, lifted it, elevated it up and over the bowler. Timed that really well for 4 runs.
Yeah, she did.
A breakthrough that New Zealand quite definitely needed. 86 for 2. Mooney goes, and it brings Phoebe Litchfield out to the crease. Must be one of those things when, if you're in the Australian dugout, you genuinely have no idea whether you're going to be in next. They're all just like lining up.
Yeah.
McGrath, Harris, Litchfield, Gardner. You know, who's going in next?
Yeah.
Dunno. No, I don't. Yeah, just wait and see. Wareham, I forgot Wareham, you know.
It might also be that left-hand, right-hand combination. So because Mooney has obviously fallen there, they've given the nod to fellow left-hander Phoebe Litchfield.
Now,
good decision.
Do you know where she's from, Phoebe Litchfield?
Orange.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes. Now I didn't know about that until a friend and colleague, Mel Farrell, told me all about it.
Yeah, 'cause she's from there as well, isn't she?
She very much is from Orange.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, crikey, yes.
Crikey,
yes,
mate.
yes. Oh, yes. I'm an expert on Orange. As Amelia Kerr is in flat, and Phoebe Litchfield drives her first ball for thick outside half of the bat to backward point, but straight to the field at Eden Carson, and there's no run. Wonderful player to watch, Phoebe Litchfield.
Yes,
a really elegant, magnificent driver of the ball. Great timer as well. So young.
Yeah, I know.
Frightening.
She's going to be around a long time, isn't she?
She really is. Amelia Kerr tosses one up, and forward comes Litchfield, advancing on the ball, and just manages to squirt a single into the offside, just to the right of extra cover. So the score advances to 87 for 2. Australia's unlucky number, of course. 12 overs gone. Perry has 15. Litchfield 1. The last one to go, Beth Mooney, who she's just batted brilliantly for an incredibly long period of time now. She was out of the side, wasn't she, for a while, and then...
Yes, she was.
Returned that much better, it seems to me. 40 from 32 she got with 2 boundaries. I mean, what I love about that is it's what Andy Zaltzman refers to as the busyness index. So if you like, the non-boundary strike rate. So if you take the 8 runs off her 40, she gets 32 off 30 balls. So she's striking at over 100 off balls she's not striking a boundary off.
Yes,
that's busy.
Yeah, especially here as well.
Especially here.
There's been so many dot balls. We were looking at dot ball comparison from this World Cup to the previous one, and also 2020, and as you'd imagine, they've been high already. Per 100 balls, I think they've been much higher than some of the other games.
Which, you know, the general trend in women's cricket is to go the other way, but here it is a bit different. Ethan Carson back in the attack. First ball is pulled out towards deep mid-wicket, and is it taken? It is! What a catch that is! We've seen some ropey fielding in this World Cup, but that is not one of them. That is a brilliant catch, running in for the deep mid-wicket boundary. Phoebe Litchfield's got to go, diving forward. It wasn't a brilliant ball. It's a little bit short and pulled out towards deep mid-wicket. Didn't quite get all of it. And this is tremendous work. Litchfield was through the shot, trifle earlier to reach for it. And that is superb. Mealy Kerr with the grab. Great athleticism, diving forward, two-handed. Check that out on the highlights tonight.
Umpire review for a fair catch.
Oh, they're going to check.
The feet, it's a fair delivery. Okay, just take it back.
Oh, that's...
Just want to check that the ball's not grounded there.
Oh, now, oh
okay,
dear.
So I've got fingers under the ball there, just roll forwards. Have you got any other angles for me, please?
So as Anna Harris is checking this, I think the fingers are under the ball.
Okay, just zooming now. Okay, fingers under the ball there.
They're kind of latticed, really.
Just confirming no other angles available. Okay, best angle that we've got. Just roll that through.
Fingers are under the ball, aren't they?
I think so. I'm just not sure they're going to give this, you know.
No, because there's a bit of doubt there. What was the on-field decision? Do we know?
No, well, I don't think there was one.
Yeah, that won't make...
You don't have that anymore.
No.
Because the soft signals and all that, they're a thing of the past.
Out the window.
Are out the window. But the fingers
okay, just
feel
roll
like
forward.
Well, she was in control of
on
it.
that frame. I've got ball on ground. So I'm ready with my decision for the big screen.
Well, Phoebe Litchfield is going to be reprieved. Not out will be the decision, you could tell from what Anna Harris was saying. And you can see why, when you see those close-ups, you see a bit of ball poking between the fingers. And the way the fingers are underneath the ball, you do also have that, you know, sort of gaps between the fingers.
Yes.
So the beat of the ball touches a bit of the ground. It feels weird because you just sort of think she's caught it.
Yeah, yeah.
But
you can see why the doubt was there from Anna Harris, and she's brilliant on field and also TV umpire as well. But Mealy Kerr would have felt that was a catch that went in. You just know sometimes, don't you?
Any umpire is giving it. It means it's a dot ball, weirdly. It's the next ball, Phoebe Litchfield works into the onside. It's a wide mid-on. And they'll get a single. You can judge for yourself. Go to the BBC Sport website and app where we have clips of highlights as they happen throughout the day, and decide for yourself. It just, I mean, it's when you see it in real time, it is a catch.
Yes.
Because it's only when you can really close up to a specific frame, as this is driven high in the air, fielder underneath it, no, sails over her head. Maddie Green moving to her right. That's a great shot from Elise Perry. She's just starting to find her feet after a pretty slow start, but 4 in the previous over down the ground, and then this one lofted over mid-on. Maddie Green was right on the boundary's edge, and we've not seen many sixes here. It is a long boundary, and she's done really well to get the power and the elevation. It wasn't that far over the boundary, but it didn't need to be. 6 more, 94 for 2, and a really disappointing couple of minutes here as this next ball thunderously murdered, marmalised, crashed and walloped to the boundary at deep mid-wicket by Elise Perry. That was a drag down from the bowler that she will not want to see again. Carson, she got away with the drag down to Phoebe Litchfield, but, well, Elise Perry's got the pace of the pitch now, and she went deep into a crease and just found the gap between square leg and deep mid-wicket and whacked it away for 4. 98 for 2. And, well, reminds me somewhat as Carson is in again. This is clipped economically by Perry into the onside. They want 2? No, they're not going to get 2. Litchfield was up for it, but unusually on this occasion, Perry was not. 99 for 2. When Healy was given out LBW, it was overturned. The next ball was crashed for 4.
Yes, it's sickening, isn't it? When you're in that situation as a field inside.
Feels like bullying to me. I'm going to come back to the catch at the end of this over, which is coming after this ball, as Litchfield just tries to whip it away into the onside, gets the inside edge really, gets single though. Carson has to field her for her own bowling. 13 off the over. Carson's done 4 overs, none for 36. The 100 is up, 100 for 2. Elise Perry, 26. Litchfield, 3 off 5. Yeah, the thing is, when you see that catch in real time, you just say to yourself, well, that's a catch. Fingers underneath, she's caught it. But there is a frame, and therefore, for a tiny fraction of a second, there might have been a bit of ball between the splayed fingers that just touched a bit of grass. And technically, that's not out then, isn't it?
Yes.
But
yeah.
It just didn't fit. It felt out.
It felt out in when we watched it. It felt out, and from Mealy Kerr's reaction as well, who is a very honest cricketer. But then when you do slow it down, you can absolutely see the thought process behind Anna Harris's decision.
Litchfield faces the first ball of a new over and drives beautifully over mid-off for 4. That's a great shot. Great use of the feet. Perry is just charging backwards and forwards. Or was that Litchfield? It was Litchfield. Sort of for the fun of it. Very Australian thing.
Just to warm up a bit more.
Hit 4. Do you think maybe if I run 4 as well, they'll give me 8? You never know. That's a great use of the feet. And beautifully connected with aerially through mid-off. Now she goes again, sweeps vigorously out to deep backward square. There'll just be the single. As the throw comes in from Rosemary Mayer, 105 for 2, and this is starting to feel like a monster score incoming from the reigning champions. New Zealand, well, they've dropped the odd catch here and there, and they've been a little bit unlucky, you'd have to say. And they need something to go their way here, as this is driven well by Perry through backward point. Field is in pursuit. The ball is slowing up, but Perry's got enough of it. Mayer can't hunt it down before it trickles onto the sponge. 9 have come from the first 3 balls. Australia 109 for 2. I cannot stress how, after 13.3 overs, how big a score that is here in Sharjah.
It's the same wicket as well, isn't it, from what we saw yesterday?
It's a little worrying, isn't it, for everybody else in the tournament. Kerr in. That's punched off the back foot, but can't beat extra cover. There'll be no run. So goes straight to the fielder. Perry surveys the scene, perhaps wounded by the suggestion in the commentary box that she was going too slowly. Faces up. Kerr tosses it up, and she's bowled her. Perry's gone. Big wicket for Kerr, big wicket for New Zealand. My word, they needed it. Great bit of bowling. Perry just pushing rather indeterminately and limply forward. Then the ball goes past the bat, clips the stumps, the zing bells light up. And Australia lose their third. They're 109 for 3. Talk us through this one.
Oh, I was just wondering if it was a bit of a googly from Mealy Kerr. It sort of went on with the arm. Maybe came in a little bit to Elise Perry, but what a wicket that is. And this is a point now, I think, for New Zealand where they just need to regroup, because before then they would have been thinking, oh my gosh, this is the game gone. But actually, if they can just regroup a bit, try and get 1, maybe 2 more quick wickets and really try and shut them down. I know that's wishful thinking, but that's what they'll be saying, Dan, surely.
Well, they will, but
here's your mate.
As one great all-rounder goes, maybe an even greater one walks out. I mean, not yet. Grace Harris doesn't have the same body of work as Elise Perry, but there's plenty of time for that to happen. It is Grace Harris who's come into the team at the expense of Darcy Brown. She's been put up to number 5, and my word, when she gets going, this ground will be way too small for the cars over to our right. Could be in danger when the bowling comes from our end. First of all, she's going to negotiate the last ball of Amelia Kerr's third over, with Australia 109 for 3. Grace Harris, a strike rate of 164 in her T20 international career. That gives you an idea of the power that this woman possesses. As Kerr is in, and Harris is bowled first ball. Plays straight at us, full straight delivery. The ball crunches into the stumps. Amelia Kerr is on a hat-trick, and Grace Harris can't believe what's happened. She trudges off. The first ball duck, and Australia is suddenly 109 for 4.
I don't think you can believe what's happened either, Dan. I think this might have been another googly from Mealy Kerr. And you can just see she is so pumped up as well. They're just trying to claw themselves back into the game. Sorry, Dan, I'm going to leave you to deal with your disappointment?
Well, I fear for the furniture in the changing room when she gets back after they'd been waiting for her opportunity. Grace Harris, it presents itself, and then a terrific bit of bowling from Mealy Kerr has done for her. 2 wickets in 2, just as New Zealand looked to be in all sorts of bother with Australia flying high, but now they've got rid of Perry, they've got rid of Harris. There's only Ash Gardner come out to bat. One of the best batters in world cricket, but she's in at 6. 109 for 4. Rosemary Mayer back in the attack. Sorry.
That is top class from Mealy Kerr, though, isn't it? She took a bit of taff in the first couple of balls of her over, but she's so good under pressure. That googly is her wicket-taking ball. Second wicket turned a little bit more in, but brings Mayer back on.
Here is Mayer, and Litchfield goes to pull a ball. That, I don't know if she got anything on. I think she did, and Izzy Gazer's parried to short, fine leg. Is there a bit of glove on that, perhaps? There's no run, is the ultimate result of this. Is just seeing the replay of those 2 in 2 from Mealy Kerr. The first was surely a googly, so was the second. It's a brilliant bit of bowling. First up, Grace Harris just turned around, looked at the stumps, just could not believe her eyes.
Yeah,
Neither could I,
She had a long build-up as well to play her first game, and then gets out for a first ball duck.
Right, as Litchfield tucks this ball into the onside, one on her pad, goes out towards deep square leg. She wants a second, it's not there. She'll bring Ash Gardner with slightly sorrowful eyes onto strike. A right-hander, so a right-hand, left-hand combination being maintained here.
And I know, obviously, the Aussie batters just keep on coming, but it's definitely not the easiest wicket to start on. We saw Elise Perry find it tricky at the start of her innings, and then she went up the gears. So, you know, Ash Gardner, she is one of the best all-rounders in the world, but she's on naught. New Zealand are up and about. Mealy Kerr's just taken 2 wickets in 2. So if they can just bowl well here at Ash Gardner, they could really peg back Australia to, I think, anything under 140, they'll be happy with here.
Well, that'd be 30 in 5.4, which would be tricky, but yeah, it's possible. I mean, if wickets keep falling in this strange fashion as Mayer is in, this is pushed into the offside, straight, fullish ball, just staying in her crease, Gardner, and finding the gap very efficiently between point and extra for a single. 111 for 4. Perry and Harris out in the last over, back-to-back, means that Mealy Kerr's on a hat-trick.
Absolutely. I do feel that this wicket, obviously we saw England and South Africa play on it yesterday, and I know it's been slow and we haven't even seen sort of 120 scores posted, but I do think this wicket is better than the first couple of days that we saw here at Sharjah. I reckon 135, 140's par.
Mayer in. This is worked into the, well, back to the bowler by Litchfield, just getting into something of a tangle. Litchfield 9 off 10. Gardner just got out there, 1 off 1. No run off that delivery. They went through a phase with just no runs were coming at all, and then suddenly Perry unleashed. But the wicket of Perry and then the wicket of Harris, that might just claw things back a bit here. Litchfield on strike, 4 in the ring in the offside and a short fine leg. Gives herself some room and drives majestically through extra cover for 4. That's the shot of the day for me. She's not a big woman, Phoebe Litchfield, but the ball pings off the centre of her bat, especially when she plays shots like that. The extra cover drive, one of her best, and that's a wonderful shot for 4, 115 for 4.
Yeah, beautiful shot. I think what the Australians have done really well so far tonight is they've used their feet. Anything full has gone to the rope. If New Zealand have over-pitched, that's when the Australian batters have capitalised, but a beautiful extra cover drive from Phoebe Litchfield.
Mayer in again. This is tucked into the onside once more. Square the wicket. They'll just get the single. It was on the hip. And Litchfield moves to 14. End of the over. 116 for 4. That previous 4. It's quite rare here in Sharjah that we get to say that's 4 from the moment it left the bat. But that was 4 from the moment it left the bat. 15 overs gone, 5 overs left. That means it's Henry Moran time, with Australia 116 for 4. More from you, Tash. You said 140. If it's 150 or even 160, is that curtains for New Zealand?
Yeah, I think that will be a really tough total for New Zealand to chase down. But I do think the wickets are getting better. We also see it's much easier to score in the evening game. Obviously, we've only had one game today, and under lights, you just feel that the ball just comes onto the bat a little bit nicer, but that ball came onto the bat, Phoebe Litchfield's bat, nicely there. It actually picked up speed as it raced away to the boundary, which I don't think we probably haven't seen any of those where it picks up speed to the boundary. The outfield here at Sharjah is so slow.
Well, it is a bit, and maybe they've given it a trim, but it's quite spongy.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So it gets just a little bit bogged down. Here we go then. Right. Tahuhu to bowl to Litchfield. Tries to give herself some room to work the ball through the offside. And can't do so because there is a clever bit of bowling from the New Zealand quick. The pace taken slightly off it. Goes through to the keeper.
Yeah, it is interesting to see how the New Zealand seamers in Rosemary Mayer and Leah Tahuhu have gone about it. They've actually kept, you know, most of the pace on. I think when the Australian seamers come to bowl in this, they're definitely going to take the pace off it.
This is banged in short and pulled towards mid-on. Could be a chance of a run-out. Throw comes in, misses at the non-striker's end. It was a decent piece of fielding as it was hurled towards the stumps, but misses.
Yeah, Maddie Green, she normally one of the best fielders in this New Zealand side. We've seen her drop her sitter, Elise Perry, before she got going, and she took an easy one. A good bit of fielding from her. She'd probably still be ruining that drop chance, because you don't normally see Maddie Green drop catches like that. She normally takes some absolute screamers on the boundary. She couldn't quite believe it herself, to be honest, when we saw the replay, her facial expression.
Ash Gardner waiting, and a full delivery is nicely tucked away to deep mid-wicket, but only for one. And so, at the moment, Australia in a very strong position, but New Zealand have not been allowing themselves to get too down. They've kept on fighting, and at the moment, the game is not certainly out of their reach.
No, they're staying within this game. There was a period of a couple of overs where Elise Perry took a liking to Eden Carson, but New Zealand are staying well within this game.
Tahuhu, very straight run up as this is pulled into the leg side, up high and bouncing towards that boundary at wide. Long on, but it'll be picked up out on the boundary by Plimmer.
Interesting ploy here to Phoebe Litchfield from Leah Tahuhu. We know this wicket is a little slow, but she banged it in short there because it's very long, square boundaries here. But Sophie Devine, she's just changing that now. She's brought fine leg up into the ring. She puts herself back onto that long on boundary. So this one's probably going to be a little bit fuller, may even take the pace off it with no one on the boundary behind Phoebe Litchfield.
In comes Tahuhu with the headband on, running in towards us, past umpire Sue Redfern, and that's well bowled. Hip height and played back towards her by Litchfield.
I just feel that on this wicket, I actually think the margin is quite small for bowlers, but if you're able to hit that perfect length, the test match length, where it's actually just clipping the bails and sort of that knee roll height, it's really hard to score. But anything full of a length tonight has been a lot easier for the batters to get through.
Tahuhu does bang it in short again. It's in the air, out towards the deep, and that's a really good piece of fielding because the ball on the bounce towards Fran Jonas, and it could easily be one of those. That was a strong
Did you see
arm.
that throw?
Goodness me.
It's rapid.
Oof.
She hurled that in. Rosemary Mayer out there.
Rosemary Mayer, forgive me. But it was one of those, wasn't it, where you see the sort of computations taking place within the fielder's mind. Can I catch it? Can I stop it? Are my teeth going to be okay here?
Yeah, and you have to make those decisions in about 0.1 seconds. So a great bit of fielding from Rosemary Mayer. Probably not to go for that catch. It would have been sort of a 1% chance. So just decided to make sure she stopped that boundary, and she absolutely hurled that throw back into Izzy Gaze.
It was a really good arm. What have you
Brooke
seen?
Halliday here.
Ooh.
The awkward action of Brooke Halliday. I like this from Sophie Devine. She was actually one of the best bowlers when New Zealand toured England. Obviously they had a torrid time of it, but she's got such a funky action, Brooke Halliday. And she, you know, she's a seamer, but it really is slow.
She's in now, and it is a funky action. This is pulled away out towards deep mid-wicket. Could be a catch, and she's got a wicket first ball. Phoebe Litchfield picks out the fielder at deep mid-wicket. She can't believe it. That's a good catch low down from Mealy Kerr. 121 for 4, 16 overs gone. Now the first ball of the 17th yields the wicket. And that could be a significant moment. There goes Litchfield.
Well, it's deja vu. We've seen Mealy Kerr take almost the exact same catch earlier in the innings, but it got overturned. Anna Harris, the TV umpire, just felt that she had grounded that ball, but this time Mealy Kerr just making sure she put that ball nowhere near the ground. It's a brilliant catch, running forward, full stretch dive. It was hit with good power from Phoebe Litchfield, and that's a stroke of genius from Sophie Devine, bringing on Brooke Halliday, who's mostly a batter in this side, but she does bowl the occasional over, and she is almost that person that just it's a bit of a wicket machine. You bring her on, she's got such an awkward action that actually sometimes the batters kind of allured into a full sense of security. There was a bit of a long hop, but it was short, it was leg side, but a brilliant bit of fielding from Mealy Kerr.
Just her 5th T20 international wicket.
Oh, lovely. In a World Cup as well. Probably first in the World Cup.
I don't know about that, and I wouldn't want to guess, but
I'm going with it.
You're going with it. We don't know that it is, but why not? I mean, it might be. No, that's not how stats work, really. Georgia Wareham waiting, right-hander, and she chases a ball that is awkward to play, and it's 122 for 5. And I say this in the nicest possible way about how she is as a bowler. There is something very village green about it.
Yeah, well, she bowls off the wrong foot, which just, you know, if you're a cricketer, that it just doesn't quite look right in your brain, but it's effective.
This is outside the off stump and clattered down the ground on the bounce towards long off for a single. So 2 runs and a wicket from the first 3 balls of the over. But do you know what I mean? When you see players that bowl off about 8 or 9 yards have probably taken over 1,000 wickets over a career of 40 years. Just landing it in the spot, bowling a slightly funny action. Not particularly quick. Halliday's... Oh, no, dear me. That is pulled away, and it's a beamer, and it's going to be a no ball and a free hit. And it's also going to be, I reckon we can safely say statistically, the worst ball of the tournament.
Yeah, that was a shocker, wasn't it? I guess it's the risk reward. She's picked up that huge wicket of Phoebe Litchfield, so you feel like she's done her job in this over, but that one just looks like it slipped out the hand. She's almost like a leggy, but bowling off a short seamer dibbly-dobbler's run-up. But that one just slipped out. It's well above waist height, and this is going to be a free hit.
Yes, that was not a thing of beauty.
It wasn't.
125 for 5. Halliday with a free hit is in down the leg side, helped on its way, and she's missed out there. And the end, that is such a nightmare for Ash Gardner, because if she'd left it alone, it would have been wide and another free hit.
Oh, she's got away with that one.
She's chased it and found the fielder at short fine leg. That is absolutely not the dream result.
Yeah, full toss, down the leg side, square leg and fine leg, both up in the ring, but she manages to find that short fine fielder. She must be absolutely fuming.
Halliday again to bowl to Ash Gardner. It's another full toss, which has been heaved out to deep mid-wicket on the bounce. And again, she's missed out. And she's such a clean ball striker, Ash Gardner, and she's so annoyed. She's looking up to the heavens, and she's thinking, oh, what have I got to do here? You can't blame the pitch for the full tosses that you miss out on.
No, you can't. She's missed out on a couple of freebies there, and she normally doesn't show too much emotion, but she is there.
Halliday with another full toss. This has been spanked in the air out towards wide long off. It'll be 2 runs, possibly 1 run. I think
that is the best worst over, isn't it? I've seen.
That was spectacular. I think that might be it for Halliday. She finishes 1 for 6, takes her gap from the umpire, and one day she'll tell her family about the day that she got the wicket of Phoebe Litchfield and bowled this 17th over for 6. She will ask no one ever has a look at it.
No, and also it's quite funny because the New Zealand coaching staff, they're having a giggle as well, because I think they're thinking what we are. But the one that she did pitch and use the facility, she picked up the big wicket of Phoebe Litchfield, so only going for 5 runs. She bowled 5 full tosses, but she only went for 5 runs, and she picked up the wicket, so well played, Sophie Devine.
I absolutely loved that over. It was
so rubbish, but it was so great.
It was, again, it was village, wasn't it? It was absolutely.
But full tosses take wickets.
So here comes Amelia Kerr on a protracted hat-trick.
No slip.
Oh, come on. I wonder if she even knows.
No, she will. Slip's probably not the answer.
Wareham coming forward and clipping the ball to long on for a single. We've seen a lot of 2 wickets and 2 balls. We've yet to get a hat-trick in this tournament.
No, they're teasing us, these teams.
Aren't they?
Well, Baldo, I think that one's just kind of coming... it's not really the googly, it's just almost the one that just goes straight on.
The slider. In comes Kerr, and stepping across the stumps is Gardner, and with a really ungainly heave to the leg side. She will pick up 1 run. This is a good phase of bowling for New Zealand, who are frustrating Australia just a little bit. Ash Gardner and Georgia Ware, I mean, we know how fabulously cleanly they can hit the ball, but they're just struggling a little bit here. Field packed inside the circle on the offside as in comes Kerr, and this is up in the air and caught. At backward point, it went on a gentle looping arc towards the fielder, and the catch is taken by Leah Tahuhu. So Wareham goes for 4, Australia lose a 6th, and New Zealand are up and about here. 129 for 6 is the score. We've got 15 balls left of the innings.
Yeah, Amelia Kerr, she's holding her nerve. So are the New Zealand side, just almost a little bit short there, but just didn't get her hands through that one. Georgia Wareham, she has to go, and it just feels like, even though the Australian batters keep coming, their batting order is absolutely ridiculous, but it's a really hard wicket to start on. We saw Elise Perry score freely, but she started slowly, and New Zealand, they're doing a great job to hold their nerve. They're bowling in the right areas. There's a little period where it felt like it was getting away from them when Elise Perry was teeing off, but they've just brought it back nicely. With 2.5 overs to go, they're 129 for 6. If they can somehow, I don't know, keep them under 155, 150, I do think this wicket is a little bit better than the first couple of days we saw, and they'll feel in the game.
Talia McGrath in at 8. That's ludicrous, isn't it? And she waits now, and deep in the crease will pull the ball towards short fine leg. Could be a chance of a run out at the non-striker's end, but Susie Bates' throw is not quick enough. 130 for 6.
Well, she was #1 T20 batter in the world a year and a half ago. Now she's batting down at 8.
It's outrageous.
Yeah.
But you still only get 120 balls. In comes Mealy Kerr. Bowls a full delivery, drilled towards cover. That'll just be the 1 run again. What a good over this has been. 1 ball left of it, just 4 runs scored, and the wicket in there. Mealy Kerr's got 4 for.
Yeah, could have a T20 World Cup 5 on the cards here. She's got 1 ball to do it. I think New Zealand have been brilliant in the field, apart from that Maddie Green drop.
Mealy Kerr bowls.
Oh, my Lord.
Beats the outside edge, goes through to the gloves or parried by the keeper. What a fabulous ball to finish the spell, and what a good spell as well. 4 overs, 4 for 26 from Mealy Kerr. McGrath is on 1, Gardner's on 6. We've got 2 overs left of the Australian innings. And the score is 131 for 6. Now, where were they in this innings? Let's remind ourselves of how things were going. Well, after 109 runs were on the board with 2 wickets down, that was at the end of the 14th over. Elise Perry fell. And so from 109 for 2, they've fallen to 131 for 6. And in 4 overs, they've accrued only a further 22 runs.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant fight back from New Zealand. They just, as you said, Henry, they had that little period where it felt like it was getting away from them, but they've stuck in there. They've bowled really well. Amelia Kerr has been absolutely brilliant tonight. So has Rosemary Mayer. She's coming on for her last over.
Into bowl to Ash Gardner, who hits the ball in the air. Could be another one here. The catch should be taken from the fielder at short third, and it is. Ash Gardner goes. Australia 7 down. 1-3-1 for 7. Gardner looking to give it the big one through the offside. Can't do so. Annabelle Sutherland, the next to come to the middle.
Another really clever bit of bowling from Rosemary Mayer. She normally opts for that. She's better at the pace on, but she's realising for this wicket, you've got to take the pace off. She just bowls this one into the wicket. It's an off-cutter. She rolls her fingers over the right side of the ball, just sits up, gets a little bit big on Ashley Gardner, and a simple catch for Fran Jonas. And actually, this is going to be a good score for Australia. But as we know, in short-form cricket, if you can finish the first innings well, you have all the momentum going into the second innings, and New Zealand will take a lot of confidence if they can keep sort of pegging Australia down at the back end into their batting innings.
Well, last night England chased down 125 as a target on this pitch. It's going to be a few more than that. But Australia, I think they would have been expecting, at one point it looked like 160, 170 was going to be a bare minimum. Here comes Rosemary Mayer, into bowl to Sutherland, who clips down the ground towards long on. And one run will be taken. How long since we've seen a boundary is the next question. It's felt like it's been quite tough going for this Australian side of late. Last boundary coming back end of the 15th over. But it was really flying along. Between overs sort of 10 and 13, at least Perry was really getting in the mood. Moving in again is Mayer. Straight approach, kicking up the hills, and pace taken off it again. Drilled towards cover, where it'll be fielded by Mealy Kerr. And it is a dot ball, 1-3-2 for 7. 9 balls left of the innings.
It has just felt in the last 3 or 4 overs when Australia have struggled to get going that because they had a really good platform, they were kind of fixed on hitting boundaries. Whereas on this wicket, we've sort of felt that, you know, you need to get the balance between trying to hit boundaries but also running really hard as well.
Mayer with a quicker ball this time, nudged into the onside for probably a couple. These two fresh at the crease, but no, they do not get back for 2. It's good fielding out there on the boundary from Plymouth. 1-3-3 for 7.
And by, you know, almost only looking for boundaries, that's when the dots have come in. They've hit the fielders in the ring a couple of times. They've got this massive gap on the leg side. They've got deep square, deep cow and deep long on. Instead of looking to drop it in there and maybe running 2, they're trying to go over the offside.
Mayer bowls, it's been spooned in the air. Can a fielder get there? Not quite. It was Leah Tahuhu who moved to her right at cover, and it just dropped safely. I think, again, we're seeing that, as you so correctly pointed out, getting started is hard.
Yeah, it is, and, you know, it's been a running theme throughout this innings. We saw Mooney struggle to get going, then Elise Perry, she obviously, you know, was out there for a sufficient period of time, and then we saw her get going, whereas each Aussie batter that has come in has found it really hard to start, and they seem like they're only looking for that boundary.
Mayer bowls, and there is a boundary. Goodness me, that's a good shot. Talia McGrath clearing the front leg and lofting over the offside for 4. Brilliant batting, and a joy to watch. 7 from the over, 1 over left, and Australia 138 for 7. What's pleasing is every success for Australia yields another bit of AC/DC.
Yeah. The tunes have been great, haven't they, at both grounds? I've been loving the tunes.
They've been very good.
And the band. Been a band at every game.
It's been brilliant, I have to say.
Good atmosphere.
There's a decent crowd in, given that it's, you know, it's 2 teams for whom, you know, on a work night, there aren't big populations in this part of the world with big fan bases for either Australia or New Zealand. We have seen a good number come through the gates, though. 138 for 7.
Yeah, it's just in front of us in the comms box. We've got families of both New Zealand and Australian teammates, so there's good support from both teams, and then seen a couple of the locals come in as well. And, you know, if we are slightly low on numbers in the grounds, we're definitely not low on volume. We've seen really good atmospheres at both grounds, especially at Sharjah as well. We were really unsure, you know, what crowds we were going to get for this tournament, but I think we've all been pleasantly surprised.
Now, I'm slightly nervous here because they've elected to give Brooke Halliday.
Oh, I'm up for it.
No.
I know it's rogue, but I think it's a good call because Fran Jonas has been taking a bit of tap, and I think Brooke Halliday's almost bowls slower than Fran Jonas.
Not Tahuhu?
No, I think Pace-on's a bad option. Well, we'll see.
Brooke Halliday pitches it. Could be a stumping, and it is. Oh, she gets a wicket with the first ball of the over once again. Sutherland's gone for 2. Australia 8 down. 138 for 8.
I honestly think that Brooke Halliday's bowling slower than Fran Jonas. She kind of comes off a slow seamer's run-up, but actually bowls it like a leggy. And that's really well bowled. It was full, it was enticing, and then it kind of just goes away from the bat of Annabelle Sutherland. She has to go from 2 from 3, and the Aussie batters just keep coming out. Sophie Molyneux's coming to the crease, but just don't think they've played this latter part of this innings well. They've just been trying to find that boundary every single time and not utilising the big pockets here at Sharjah. But that's really well bowled from Brooke Halliday. She's holding her nerve, and this time, use the facilities, takes a wicket again.
Well, there you go. That's her 6th T20 international wicket. So 138 for 8. Got 5 balls left of the innings. Yes. A call from Sue Redfern to get on with it. Sophie Molyneux and Talia McGrath are deep in conversation. Molyneux in at 10. And I don't think Megan Schutt was anticipating having to put her pads on.
No, she's probably fuming.
Here comes Halliday to bowl to the left-handed Molyneux. This has been chipped away. What a shot to get started. Over the offside it goes, and for 4 runs. As you mentioned, she's opened the batting in franchise cricket, and Australia's number 10 with the most elegant, glorious lofted cover drive.
Yeah, that is a beautiful shot. Over pitch from Halliday and a little bit wide of the off stump. All the offside is up, so that's a freebie from Molyneux, who's a very good batter. She's in this side for her left arm spin, but pretty handy having Molyneux coming at 10.
1-4-2 for 8. 4 balls left of the innings. This has been driven into the offside again. Could be trouble at the non-striker's end. Throw comes in from Bates, but the single is taken. So 3 balls left. Can Australia get past 150? It's 1-4-3 for 8. There's a smile and a joke shared between umpire Redfern and Molyneux. I love that dismissal. And look at the face of Halliday.
Halliday's like, easy,
yeah,
no problem.
Off you go.
Easy, this bowling malarkey.
Don't know what you lot are moaning about. She comes in now off 5 or 6 paces. In past the umpire, very wide and flogged out towards deep mid-wicket. Probably for a couple, and it will be 2. There's almost a chance of 3, but Mealy Kerr's got a good arm, so it won't be 3. 1-4-5 for 8. 2 balls left of the innings. We'll be hearing from England men's Bryden Cast during the break.
Well, they've had a tough couple of days in the dirt, haven't they, the England men?
Not been great. They fought hard. Commentary continues tomorrow morning, 5:45 on BBC Sounds. Halliday bowls a ball which is whipped towards square leg. Oh, could have been a run out, but so quick in setting off his Molyneux. She was almost running in with the bowler to get on strike for the final ball of the innings. They do get a single. 1-4-6 for 8.
Yeah, well bowled from Brooke Halliday again. Just that slow sort of out the back of the hand, kind of really dips on the batter. She's got 1 ball left. You feel like she can just restrict the Aussies to a boundary here and keep them under that 150. At one point, the Australians were almost on for 160, 170. This is a very good score on this wicket, no doubt about it. But you just feel that New Zealand, they can have a good finish here. They're going to take the momentum into that second innings.
Here comes the final ball of the innings to be bowled by Halliday. It's a low full toss. I said low full toss, a loopy full toss, and they'll turn for a second run, push hard for it. There's a fumble in the deep twice, actually, from Maddie Green, and there will be 2 runs taken. So the target for New Zealand is 149, and how's this for a stat from Hypercourse? And this was after the first wicket that Brooke Halliday had taken, and that was that she had bowled 17 balls against Australia and taken 4 wickets. So she...
Oh, easy.
Easy peasy. I don't know what
good match-up then.
There you go. Oh, well, it's funny. You know, the numbers would have been crunched, and clearly it's something that Australia struggled with, that very slow bowling. But anyway, end of the innings, 149 the target. Where do we see that, Tash?
Yeah, I think it's a very good score. We've seen some low scores. The highest score we've seen so far on this Sharjah wicket is 125 last night. But I don't think it's a really terrible wicket. I think probably 135, 140's pass. I think Australia have got above that. But the way they went about those last 5 overs, I think they'll be frustrated with. So New Zealand will feel like they came back really strongly. They showed some fight out there to have a really good finish to that first innings. And with, you know, the way that they played against India, they've got a lot of confidence with the bat. Georgia Plimmer, I hope she comes out like she did against India and is really attacking. And then Sophie Devine, she looked in brilliant form last game. So if you've got her on your side, you know, you're going to feel fairly confident going into this chase.
Well, it'll be interesting, and certainly they're not out of it. It's going to be really tough for New Zealand. Let's make no mistake about that, but they are not out of it. So Australia make 148 for 8, and top scoring from the innings, Beth Mooney's 40 of 32, Alyssa Healy made 26 of 20, Elise Perry 30 of 24, but then there was only one other double-figure score. That was Phoebe Litchfield's run a ball 18. Grace Harris into the side, got a first bowler. 6 from 8 for Ash Gardner in there as well, and some big players without big contributions. Georgia Wareham 4 from 5, Annabelle Sutherland 2 from 3. And 2 wickets apiece for Mayer and Halliday, but Amelia Kerr outstanding, 4 for 26 from her 4 overs. So 149 will be the target. We will be hearing, I think, from one member of one of the sides in just a moment, waiting to see who it is. But what we do know is that we've got an interesting game on our hands. Why it matters? Well, because here in Group A, at the moment, top of the pile are New Zealand with that thumping win over India in their tournament opener. Second are Australia. If New Zealand were to win this game, it would set up the tantalising prospect of India, if they were to beat Australia as well and keep their tournament going. Well, it would be really potential curtains for Aussies in the tournament. So that's why it's significant. Right, we're not going to hear from anyone. They'd set up the interview, everything was ready to go, and then nobody showed up for it.
Oh, I wonder who said no.
I wonder. Do you normally get asked in this circumstance? So, not you personally, but players get the call when somebody says.
Yeah, I think it's not compulsory. It's just down to the team. But I don't know who they would have asked. But I think maybe both teams feel like this is such an important game. They just want to be fully focused on that second innings. Shame though.
Yeah, well there we go. We'll have to offer our own thoughts, which are just as important, obviously. Right, so what about England's men then? They've been playing in Multan. We've seen 2 days and 2 tough days for England as well. Pakistan eventually bowled out for 556 after a really brutal time of it for England out there in the dirt, with 102 from Abdullah Shafiq, Shan Masood making 151, also Salman Agha making 104 not out. But in amongst all of that, Bryden Carr's picked up a couple of wickets, his first test wickets as well, playing in his first test match. And after play today, with England having reached 96 for 1 at the close, still trailing by 460, well, Bryden Carr's caught up with Atif Nawaz. He did, I assure you. Hold on a moment. We will hear just a second from Bryden Carr's chatting to Atif, and what a special day for him, as we know, for players to get that opportunity to play in Test match cricket for the first time. He's waited a little while for that, and he does now have the chance to do so, playing for England. And we will see if we can hear from him in just a moment. And let's have another go. Here is Bryden Carr with Atif Nawaz.
Bryden, thanks so much for making the time. It's been quite the year for you this year. Lots been going on. I bet there were times when you were serving a suspension. Your first England Test wicket must have felt a million miles away.
Yeah, look, obviously happy to be here now, and the last 6 weeks back playing in an England shirt has been a good positive 6 weeks, and to get my Test wicket today, it's a very special feeling.
Yeah, talk us through how it felt taking that first Test wicket. It must have been very emotional. There was a lot of expression on your face when you took it. Talk us through how it felt at the time.
Yeah, look, obviously yesterday, I thought I had that then, but obviously with the DRS and just pitching outside leg. And then today, obviously, I was in, after 4 overs, Popey came over and said, look, do you have one more in you? And I said, yeah, definitely, because I felt in good rhythm in that spell. And then, look, obviously, probably not the celebrations that, you would expect after your first Test wicket, but, the guys were knackered and like I was into my, I don't know, I think 17th, 18th over. But, yeah, obviously a relief, and glad that I could contribute with a couple of wickets today for the team.
Yeah, and you spent a lot of time out in the field. Everybody did. How is everybody feeling after that? Is there a bit of fatigue there?
Yeah, definitely. I think, the guys, the bowlers will be a bit fatigued, but, we've batted nicely there tonight, and the guys will rest up tonight, and hopefully tomorrow we can come and have a good batting day.
Yeah, there was a moment while you guys were in the field where Wokesy took a catch on the boundary. It looked like it was a catch, and it was adjudged to be 6. Didn't seem too pleased with it. What was the vibes like then in the team?
Well, I was on, I think I was down a deep square leg. Look, it was a great bit of fielding, and I think most of us thought it was probably out, but obviously his foot was just touching the ground. Yeah, look, when those sort of things don't go your way, there's obviously a little bit of heart done by, but obviously the guys kept going and kept sticking to their plan, and credit to all the bowlers and fielders over the last 2 days, because it was tough graft out there, but everyone stuck to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jack Leach, 40 overs for him. What's it like having him back in the team? I know he's a very popular character in the England dressing room.
Yeah, Leach is a great guy. He's a popular member. I actually get on quite well with him, and he's he's a funny man to be around. And look, I don't know how many overs he got through, 40 odd overs. He did a great job for the team, and ending up with 3 or 4 wickets there.
Yeah, it's a terrific performance from you and the team. As you say, good batting this in the evening session as well. What's the discussion going to be like? What's the plan coming back tomorrow?
I think the guys will just, rest up tonight and come back and bat positively and try and put their bowlers under pressure. And if we have a good day, we'll reassess where we're at the end of the day.
556 is a big score in the first innings from Pakistan. Do you think England can still win this game?
Of course, yeah. Like I say, we come back tomorrow, and if we bat positively, we'll see where we are towards the end of the day.
Fantastic. Bryden, thank you so much for speaking to us.
No worries, thank you. Cheers, thank you.
There are the thoughts of Bryden Cast chatting to Atif Nawaz. Last time, well, 2 times that England have conceded over 500. They have gone on to win the game, so it is certainly possible. What about this game in front of us, though? Australia against New Zealand in the ICC Women's T20 World Cup. We've got interesting game, 149 as a target for New Zealand. They were very impressive in their first game against India, but having said that, Lydia Greenway, they also did lose 10 on the bounce prior to that game. So against the Trans-Tasman rivals, do you think they can do it?
Well, they have to believe that they can do it. In terms of my opinion, yeah, absolutely. I think if they are to chase this total down, they will need Sophie Devine to back up her performance from the other evening. She was brilliant, 57 not out against India. That was off just 36 deliveries. Mealy Kerr will need to chip in, and Susie Bates will have to find a bit of form as well at the top of the order. So yeah, it will very much be down to their top 4, I think. They haven't got the depth that Australia have got with the bat, and they haven't quite got the power either. So if they are going to get close to this total, then it's going to have to be the names that we always speak about for New Zealand, you would imagine.
Yeah, and the names that we've spoken about for New Zealand for approximately 15 years as well.
Yeah.
So we'll wait and see. Australia gathered below us, maybe 20 yards away, on the boundary edge in their bottle green T20 uniforms. Some friends and family not far away too. The stands are reasonably full, actually, in the blue seating below us, as Australia sprint onto the field. Megan Schutt, who will no doubt be bowling the first over, leading the charge in the New Zealand openers. Plimmer, who was excellent in the last game, I have to say, having had a torrid time in the English summer. She played really nicely against India and showed the aggression, the timing, the presence of mind as well at the top of the order. And New Zealand with Bates, Plimmer, Kerr, Devine, Halliday, Green, Gaze, Mayer, Tahuhu, Carson and Jonas, hoping to chase down 149. They do that, then they could very well find Australia in all sorts of problems going into that game. Not problems, it's overstating it. It just sets up a fascinating game in the prospect of India against Australia as a sort of de facto quarter-final later on in the week. So that's what we're keeping an eye on. I'm getting out of the way. Lydia Greenway, some more from you, and then to take us through the early stages of the innings with Megan Schutt up against Susie Bates. 149er target. Daniel Norcross standing by.
Thank you, Henry. I think someone like Megan Schutt on this pitch will be really good, because yes, she gets that big booming in swing, but if she comes back on, perhaps at the death, it will be a lot of the leg cutters that we see. So in effect, she can be your new ball bowler, but then also she can be that pace-off spin type of bowler for Australia. So she just adds that other dimension. And as we know, in Australia have plenty of other spin options as well.
But no Alana King. Where's Alana King? I want Alana King.
She's got a hole in the top of her bucket hat to get her bun through. I like the innovation of that.
I like that. That's maybe the reason she thinks outside the box. As Megan Schutt is in. Her first delivery is full outside the off stump, driven into the covers. And there will be no run. It is Susie Bates and Georgia Plimmer. Georgia Plimmer had a shocking time a bit form-wise for pretty much all of this year, and then suddenly burst into life in Dubai the other day against the West Indies, crashing it to all parts. Fabulous 38 she made. As Bates faces up, gives off some room and pushes it to the offside, but she exposed all 3 stumps there for a moment and somewhat gets away with that. So the ball's pushed out into the covers and is picked up at extra cover. There is no run. Let's have a look at this field. Deep square, deep mid-wicket, short 5, a short mid-wicket and a mid-on. So 5 on the leg side, a short third, a cover point, extra cover and a mid-off. Bates comes down the wicket and gets in a bit of a tangle. Ball comes off, maybe a bit of bat, but a fair bit of pad as well. Rolls into the onside. And a leg by is signal. There was no bat. And she'll pick up a single. I suppose the field reflects the prevailing travel of the ball, doesn't it? Which is into the batters.
Yeah, it does. Interestingly, Susie Bates, the first couple of deliveries, was trying to go against the swing because that was the boundary option. But then that one there, she was trying to get it in that pocket over mid-wicket in the ring to try and beat deep mid-wicket out on the boundary.
The other option is, I suppose, through the offside. But
yeah.
Shoot is in. That strikes the pad of Plymouth, rolls into the onside square. The wicket, fine leg has to pick up. There's a big appeal. Now a chat between Megan Shoot and Alyssa Healy. Has it done too much? Was it starting too far, or has Plymouth gone too far across? They're having a long conflab here, and they've decided against it. So they won't be referring this. We'll get to have a better look in a moment. The moment the timer gets down to 0. Leg by is now signalled as well. That is obviously delayed. That's going miles down the leg side. If they'd referred that. Well, we saw a terrible referral earlier today, didn't we? An hilarious one, Rosemary Mayer. That would have rivaled it. Shoot. In. This is driven square of the wicket. Picks out the field at that cover point. There's no run. I discovered something this week, by the way. By this week, I mean today. That, you know, we keep on saying that Sophie Eccleston's the #1 bowler in the world.
Yes.
Well, rather briefly, before yesterday, she was actually the #2 bowler in the world. Because she was overtaken the day before by Sadia Iqbal.
Gosh.
It changes all the time. Down the leg side, strikes the pad again, goes back up the wicket to Megan Shoot, who fields her for her own bowling. So she was #1 at the start of the 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Then she was #2 2 days ago, end of the over 2 without loss. Both of them leg byes. And then she got back to #1 yesterday.
So normal order has resumed.
Normal order has resumed. But who knows? I can't remember when Pakistan play next, but I think it's before England. So Sadia Iqbal could go back ahead.
Could be a game of cat and mouse.
It is. Sarah Glenn is up to 3.
She's doing well, isn't she?
Yeah, Eccles 1 and Glenn 3.
Yeah.
So
the spin twins.
Yeah. I don't know what that makes poor old Charlie Dean.
the forgotten
the
triplet,
young,
maybe.
The forgotten triplet. Yeah. Yeah, she's just ended up in the wrong cot in the hospital. Yeah.
To be fair, that would be about right, because Eccleston and Glenn are about the same height, aren't they?
Yeah. Molyneux, left arm spin into the attack. The first ball's driven down the ground through mid-off. It's a wonderful shot by Plymouth. Not going to be 4. And the throw comes in. And they'll get back for a couple. It's sort of indicative, isn't it, the power that we've seen from the Australians. So a shot like that felt like it was going to get to the boundary, but on this slow outfield, Plymouth just a sort of slightly more slight woman, doesn't have quite the same power, younger as well, of course, as she goes into a crease, works into the onside, and they don't get a run. 4 without loss. The other thing I was looking at was the number of boundaries that were scored in Australia's innings, because you recall yesterday England hit 14 fours on their way to their victory against South Africa. Molyneux in, driven again by Plymouth. She's going to get a run as it goes to extra cover. The throw comes in, Bates gets through safely, 5 without loss. And Australia today hit 13 fours and 1 6.
Oh,
so virtually exactly the same.
Yeah, but it's the dot, well, what could be the dot balls.
Yeah, the runs, isn't it? It's those runs in between. That Beth Mooney innings we were talking about, how busy she is in between those balls when she doesn't hit boundaries. She's just scoring every time. Molyneux is in, and down comes Bates, gets on the pads. Oh, there's a mix-up. There was not a run there, very sensibly. They decided not to take it, but there was a horrible moment when I thought they were going to be in mid-pitch, and New Zealand can ill afford to lose, well, either of these two, but especially not Susie Bates to a run-out. Not at this stage. Molyneux is swift to collect as the ball came off Bates's pad and thudded into the onside. 5 without loss, 10 balls have been bowled. Molyneux comes in once again. Bates waits and then clips away out square leg. There's a fielder out there, one of the 2 boundary riders, deep square and deep mid wicket. 6 without loss. Bates with that. It's finally off the mark of her 7th ball.
She's been quite frantic, hasn't she? She does like to come at the bowlers, but I think at times she's just been coming down the wrong line and has ended up just sort of padding it away, really.
She's picked up some leg buys for the team, I suppose. Molly fires one in, and Plymouth drives, and a fumble and extra cover means she gets home. A rare fumble from an Australian in the field, from Phoebe Litchfield. She'd picked that up cleanly. Couldn't have been in trouble at either end. 7 without loss, 2 overs bowled, 5 off that Molyneux over, 3 singles and a 2. Plymouth will keep strike. At the moment, she's the one who's looking like she's in sort of better working order,
yeah,
actually, Susie Bates.
She does. I really like the intent that she's played with, and just in terms of getting a good stride in, hitting the ball hard, not being tentative, taking on the field. That will be the one thing that they'll be mindful of, is Plymouth was run out at least 3 times, I think, this summer against England.
She was, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Shoot in, starts a new over, and Plymouth defends firmly into the offside. Short extra cover, no run. It looked that, even that shot looked really lovely. Elbow high, back came through nicely, good crisp connection, but couldn't beat the fielder on this occasion.
But that will be what she will have to do, because if Devine or Mealy Kerr aren't going to open, and if she is going to open, she's going to just have to take it on, because otherwise Devine's going to be sat watching for too long.
Before she bowled, looking to whip a ball that wasn't as short as the shot that she played would have suggested. Looked to whip it into the onside, missed it. She's castled. Shoot with the right through. Plymouth's gone for 4. New Zealand 7 for 1.
Yeah, that's a shame, because, as we were saying, she was showing the right intent. Megan Shute doesn't get a huge amount of bounce, and that one perhaps has stayed a little bit low, but I think it's also a poorly judged and executed shot in the end. And because Megan Shute likes to keep the stumps in play, it means that Georgia Plymouth is on her way back to the dugout. The youngster, she played brilliantly the other day, 34 of 23, but she just couldn't quite back it up today.
Was I just hearing bagpipes?
Yeah, they've got the wrong team,
haven't they?
Yeah. When does Scotland play next? Scotland?
Tomorrow.
Is it South Africa?
I think
Scotland,
so, in a
South
double
Africa?
header. We're in Dubai tomorrow for the double header. The 5th double header in 7 days.
You guys are workhorses, Dan.
Well, that's not usually a word that's directed at me.
After our chat about daytime TV earlier.
Yes. yes. They're all BBC programmes, I can faithfully say. Homes Under the Hammer, Bargain Hunt, Antiques Road Trip.
All of the best
Better Pointless. Yeah. House of Games. Oh, yeah.
House of Games, that's a good one.
Like
that's
one,
my fave. Yeah.
You're angling to get on that one. She bowls 4 and is clipped into the onside. Amelia Kerr, though, picks out mid-wicket, and there is no run. Yeah, I rather like that. I've got my eye on the luggage.
Oh, yes. Is that what you'd go for?
Yeah, I'd go for the luggage. I don't think the cricket bat will probably pass muster, is my guess. But the luggage looks quite sturdy.
Yeah, practical. You get a lot of use out of that.
And I'm nothing if not practical.
Yeah.
Shoot. Into Kerr, pulled forcefully out to deep square leg. Ash Gardner does brilliantly, running away to her right. They're coming back for a second. This could be tight, but the throw is imperfect. Slightly too enthusiastic, the throw. It's a long distance out there. She's got a really good arm, but on this occasion it was actually a bit too good. We'll pick up a couple of runs, 9 for 1.
New Zealand are just showing really good intent with their running between the wickets. I think another team, another couple of batters out there would have just settled for the one, but Mealy Kerr really hustled for that second.
Shoot into Kerr, who drives, but the ball's really full and has to sort of dig it out from the bottom of the bat back to the bowler. One more ball in this over from Shoot, who, have I just read that right, has taken 1 for 2. So her first over was a maiden because of the run score were leg buys, of course.
Yes.
That passed me by, actually. Sorry, dear listener. She's now got the most number of wickets as Megan Shute in T20 World Cups. As this next delivery, the last of the over, is carved to point, but straight to the fielder. 1 for 2 off 2. Megan Shute, a bit reminiscent of Marizanne Cap yesterday on this very self-same surface. New Zealand chasing 149 to win, which felt a little arduous, I've got to say. It feels even more arduous now. On 9 for 1. Plymouth, the batter to go. Bates has 1 off 7. Kerr has 2 off 4. And Australia well on top at this stage, but we saw how the partnership can come together from yesterday with Danny White, Hodge and Nat Silverbrunt in a cavalcade of double barrelling.
A few tongue twisters in there, Dan.
All we needed was Alice Davidson Richards to be bowling. And
Tilly Courtine Coleman as well.
Crumbs at the other end. It's all getting a bit much for me. It's just trying to get all the words out there,
yes,
you know?
Yeah, in the right order.
In the right order, yeah. Yeah. I suppose that is supposed to be my job. As Molyneux is in, and this is driven up to long on for a single. No more, 10 for 1. You may wonder why I had that tone of voice. It was I couldn't quite count the 7th player in the ring, but I found it just in time for the ball to be bowled. So Kerr now on strike on 2. We've not had a boundary yet, have we, in this innings?
No, we've had a few near ones.
Kerr waits, surveys the scene. And in comes Molyneux, left arm around the wicket. She gives herself some room. The ball scurries on. She just gets back down on it quickly enough to prevent it hitting a stump, pushes it short extra. Litchfield does the fielding.
I think a little paddle is on here, Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the angle, yeah. And the pace.
That's another quick one. And said, well, if you don't paddle it, get a thick edge instead through the offside. The ball's running down towards the boundary. It is, it's going to get there in the end. Grace Harris, who's having a tough day today, chased it down to the boundary. She got to it just, but as she dived, she may have just dived a trifle early, and so she was sliding and got her hand to it, ended up pushing it onto the boundary sponge in the end. So a slightly fortuitous boundary for Mealy Kerr. I mean, that's the other one. You could do the reverse through here, up and over, couldn't you, I suppose? As she gives herself room again. Another ball that's just fired into the stumps. I'd love to see the speed on that. Pushed a short extra, and there's no run. I say pushed, rather desperately. Goofed, you know.
Kadunked.
Yeah. No, I don't think that is the kadonk. Down the wicket she comes and drives up to mid-off. Good sprawling stop. The Aussies are terrific in the field. A bit of relay work with Annabelle Sutherland tidying up means there's just a single. Talia McGrath is about 9'6". Annabelle Sutherland's about 9'8". Between them, they cover an awful lot
they do.
of distance, don't they? I mean, they're tall women and they're athletic. They're so fast across the ground. A very impressive side to watch in the field as Bates is struck on the pad, looking to work a ball. It's fired into leg stump out towards the onside. She gets nothing on it. 6 off the over, though. So you see them just starting to put together some runs. 15 for 1, and Mealy Kerr has 7. And Susie Bates has 2. 4 overs of the power play done. What do they do now? Which of the sort of, what is it, probably 8 options? Looking at this, well, it could be Perry, Gardner, McGrath, Wareham, Sutherland, Molyneux, Shute, Harris. Yes, 8. There are 8 bowlers in this team, Lydia.
Yes, there are. And that's one of the challenges for the skipper, Alyssa Healy, is actually managing them all. They've got to decide who they're going to go after. Interestingly, they're going to Annabelle Sutherland, who might mix up her pace from ball 1. It'd be interesting to see that, just because of the surface and the conditions, or she might just go that hard length with the new ball and try and sneak a wicket that way.
Very impressive athlete. She's at the top of her mark. And she's coming in to Mealy Kerr, who waits. And this works into the onside. They're going to go through for the quick single. Mooney is fast to the ball, throws, nearly hits the stumps, but Bates is home for a single. I don't know what it is. Is this just barbecues? Is this what it is? You know, in Australia, you just grow up and you're kind of weaned on meat.
What are you talking about? Because their build, yeah.
They're just that bit in scale.
Yes.
You see Mealy Kerr at the other end.
Yes.
Terrifically fine cricketer. And she is of a certain build.
Yes.
Australians managed to find these tall, impressive. So down the wicket comes Bates, gets into a bit of a tangle. The ball gets off the inside edge. Alyssa Healy tidies up. You know, it's a bit like how there was always an assumption that the Dutch are the tallest nation in the world. Right?
Because of what they eat.
Well, there's a lot of dairy in the diet.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it from early on. I've no idea. But I mean, there will be a dietary correlation, weren't there, to a degree? This is full, heaved away out to deep square leg. A shot with no real shape to it. Susie Bates is looking a little bit frustrated with herself. She's got 3 off 11. Hasn't got going here. 17 for 1 halfway through the 5th over.
But it's all healthy stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
For the Aussies.
It is, and they're outdoors all the time. I think the sun grows them as well, you know, like you put flowers in the sunshine, they grow, don't they? Yeah.
Smoothies,
bananas,
green
everywhere.
Juices, probably.
Oh, kale. That's work to get into the onside, picked up at short mid-wicket. There's no run. I mean, I think about Australian fast bowlers. One of the things that England have been struggling to find is to be able to sort of meet the power of the likes of Josh Hazlewood and Pat Cummins. You know, the standard build of an Aussie fast bowler tends to be broader, hit the pitch a bit harder, don't they? And Sutherland is in. This is a ball that comes back in to Kerr, and all she can do is guide it to point. Can't beat this suffocating ring field of 5 on the offside. But then you ally that to their speed across the ground, their athleticism, their ability to run, turn 1s into 2s, to turn nothings into 1s, and then in the field to turn 2s into 1s. Here's Sutherland, and Kerr drives in the air up over mid-on. It's going to bounce and skip away, actually, for 4. That's a fine shot. She took the aerial route, and a rare boundary, the second of the innings, both to Mealy Kerr. The first one was a bit edgy. It flew through deep third, down to the boundary. This one was straight out of the screws, up and over mid-on. According to that scoreboard, it says 17 for 1. I can't believe that. It's 21 for 1. 5 overs gone. Bates has 3. Mealy Kerr has 12. More from you, Lids, on this start. And is it good enough? And it's going to be Henry Moran.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, I mean, they know that they're behind the rate at the moment. But the key thing, I think, is trying to build a partnership coming out of this power play, particularly because of who's there. The one thing I'd say from a technical point of view, which you could maybe learn from Mealy Kerr at the other end, is just trying to keep that front shoulder in for longer when she's trying to go big, because Mealy Kerr did that. She kept her front shoulder in, and that allowed her to hit straight down the ground, whereas on occasion Susie Bates just loses her shape, but her intent has been good.
Well, here comes Ash Gardner into the attack, and forward to meet it is Susie Bates, who is now 3 off 12 and will be feeling just a little need to get a wiggle on. On Daniel's point about non-boundary balls, Hypercourse has been in touch. Australia ran 84 off 107 non-boundary deliveries. Only New Zealand with 86 off 104. Here comes Gardner. This is swept firmly, crisply out to deep mid-wicket. Fielded by Wareham out there in the distance. Only New Zealand's 86 of 104 against India and Dubai. More non-boundary runs at this World Cup. Fitness is going to win you this tournament.
Yeah, and skill as well, I think. You know, to be able to not hit the fielder, to balls where you're thinking, okay, that's full and wide, I have to play a cover drive. There's a bit more to it than that. Yes, play a cover drive, but maybe open the angle of the blade.
This has been hoiked into the leg side. Cries of catch it, diving forward. It was the toughest chance imaginable. Georgia Wareham lunging forward, couldn't stop it, and they'll get back for 2. It's a big old heave to a dangerous part of the ground, because that's where the 2 fielders are out in the deep, but Kerr was willing to take it on. I've had a telling off from Dean on the email.
What's Dean saying?
Well, because I used the term up and about.
Yes.
Not as in first thing in the morning. Here comes Gardner. Here she goes big again. Oh, just over the fielder at short mid-wicket. Once more they'll turn for a second, but it isn't there this time. And there is just a single. I think I meant I think I said it in the context that the players were up and about, you know, a bit lively.
Like energetic.
Yeah. Apparently that's Aussie slang. Says Dean. Can't be doing. We're on the ABC as well, and it's lovely to be here. This is drilled towards mid-off, and Talia McGrath, no run. Dean, I'm sorry. I can only apologise. Dan's in touch as well, enjoying the commentary. If you want to email, tms@bbc.co.uk. I think we've got a bit of obla-dee obla-da tonight.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. I think there was even a bit of Boney M earlier today.
Any day that involves a bit of German disco for me.
Yes.
heaved into the onside. This could be 4 runs, you know. It goes out towards the wide long on boundary, and the fielders give up the chase. Susie Bates reaching for the ball outside the off stump, gets a big piece of it, and it goes out towards the deep. 29 for 1. 6 overs gone. End of the power play. The required rate is 8.5 and over. It's going to take some performance from somebody for New Zealand, but they're giving it a go.
They are. Just looking at the score that Australia had coming out of their power play. It was 43 for 1, so they obviously got off to a better start. But crucially, I think for New Zealand, they now have to do exactly what Australia did, which is find those gaps, hustle between the wickets, and really try and put pressure on the bowlers. Because when any bowler, it doesn't matter just because they're Australian, if they are under pressure early on in the over, then that's where you reap the rewards. You can get those odd bad deliveries, mistakes in the field, but you have to earn the right, and it's tough to do that against sides like Australia.
I had a nervy minute on my way back to the commentary box because I went to grab a bite to eat.
Yes.
But the 5 overs rattled around quite quickly, so it wasn't long.
No.
And I had to run with my plate of food, and I realised Megan Shute was about to bowl, and I was about to be that person
No.
who stops playing. Oh, I had to get my skates on. Amelia Kerr on strike as Georgia Wareham, fellow leg spinner, is in and bowls. Cries of catch, goes just short of mid-off. Probably, what, 5 or 6 yards shy of Talia McGrath. She's giving it some here, though, is Amelia Kerr.
She is. I'm pleased you weren't that person, Henry.
I know.
Because you're a tall man as well.
I know. And this is the problem. In comes Wareham, coming to meet it rather riskily as Kerr, because if she'd missed that, there was the easiest stumping imaginable for Elisa Healy. But she got something on it, gets a single. Who's going to be the New Zealand captain after Devine, asks Josh.
It's got to be Amelia Kerr.
It's got to be, isn't it? Feels
assuming that she wants to do it. I know she's still young, but she's got a lot of cricketing experience.
Bates, deep in the crease, will smash the ball out towards deep cover for 1. They need boundaries pretty much every over here. 1s and 2s aren't going to do it.
Other options would be Susie Bates, but they've already been there, haven't they? And she's sort of coming towards in the twilight period of her career.
Yeah. It's got to be Amelia Kerr for me. She's on strike and defending, back up the track. Well bowled by Wolfie, as she's known, Georgia Wareham.
Wolfie. She's done well to come back, hasn't she? She had that horrible ACL injury which kept her out the game for a long time.
Comes in now with the long sleeves, a little ramp over the shoulder. Nicely played that, but won't reach the boundary. In fact, it might only be 1. It is the powerful arm of Grace Harris running round from short third. And that will mean the score stands at 32 for 1 with just 3 from the over so far. They're trying to find boundaries, but this is good bowling, and as always from Australia, really good fielding. It's not just their batting and bowling that makes them such a formidable team. In comes Wareham. Meeting the ball almost on the full is Bates, but she gets in a right old tangle, plays the ball into the toes, and the end of an over that yields just 3. 7 gone. Lydia Greenway, thank you to you for the time being. Tash Farron has just very kindly got a round of teas in for everybody.
And Bickies.
Yes.
No, you bought the Bickies.
I did. Yeah, I went.
It's very sweet because I was kind of craving a digestive.
I know, and you kept mentioning
3 days.
it. And so I took the hint and went and picked some up. I did. I went for some custard creams as well, because surprisingly you went a bit retro in what you were after.
Yeah.
You had a hankering.
I think the old school biscuits are the best, right?
Do you know what?
Just a plain old digestive for me.
You see, Daniel and I discussed this
At length.
before purchasing them. Would she want the milk chocolate? Would she want the dark chocolate? We went plain. We went
plain Jane. You nailed it.
It's not what I said. Sutherland back into the attack. And this is played back past her. That's a nice looking shot. It'll probably only be the 1 run though. As fielding running in from the boundary is Beth Mooney, who gets the applause of her teammates for the pace with which she reached that ball. 33 for 1. And I would say the only old school biscuit I think's a bit rubbish is the pink wafer.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the bourbon.
No, I love a bourbon.
Oh, I think they're rubbish.
Do you? That seems harsh to me. This is drilled down the ground for a single, but not really timed by Susie Bates, who's 10 from 18 and rather holding things up at the moment. The required rate is over 9.
The pink wave, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that's in top 3, like, you know, overrated bickies.
What are they bringing to the party?
Well, not a lot.
Not a lot. You get no...
Mostly air.
Mostly, yeah. It's just all sort of, you know, lack of density.
And you can't dunk that in your tea, can you?
It's a full delivery, which is tickled around the corner, down towards the fine leg boundary. This could be 4 runs. Fielder running round, won't get there. Even Elise Perry, with the amount of work she does on the boundary and how effective she can be in stopping balls that seem inevitably to go for 4. Well, she can't stop that one. Very fine. 38 for 1.
Yeah, just... Oh, I was going to say straight in line, but she didn't. It was actually going to clatter into leg stump, but Mealy Kerr pulled out the nutmeg, through the legs, 4 runs.
Yes, the nutmeg. Love it. Little flick between the legs. Kerr waits for Sutherland, has to defend a quick ball. That was hostile. That was a bowler who was riled by the previous shot having gone to the boundary.
Pretty cool having a shot named after you, isn't it?
I know.
One that, do we think she actually meant to play it the first time that she did it? What do you reckon?
Well, it's a good question.
I can't remember the first time she played it.
In comes Sutherland. This is pulled away into the onside, clearing the infield out towards deep mid-wicket. Again, all stop before the ropes. Wareham's throw comes in with 2 runs taken. Dean says, I'm sorry to moan. Coverage has been lovely.
Oh, I was worried then.
Tasha's been superb. Her insight delivered with energetic, happy demeanour and has elevated the coverage.
Oh, that's so nice.
Isn't it?
Thanks, Dean.
Thanks, Dean.
Blushing. Thank you.
Mr. Tarrant.
We've had fun. It's easy with Dan, Henry and Lids, and not so easy with Catherine. She's, you know, stressful when we're watching England.
Sutherland in, advancing to meet her with a nice piece of timing is Mealy Kerr, stopped in the covers, and 8 gone. 40 for 1 is the score. At what stage does Susie Bates retire out, asks John. Can't keep Devine waiting in the dugout forever. She's going to keep going like this, or they don't want to commit to losing a wicket. Is she going to retire her?
Well, we saw a bit of a trend in the 100, didn't we, this summer? Kind of, who did it first? Was it Sam Billings? He retired himself because he, as the captain of the Old Invincibles, he felt like, you know, someone else would do a better thing. And then it kind of, lots of teams started to do it. I don't think Susie Bates is going to retire herself. She's the leading run scorer in T20 World Cup, so she's got a lot behind her. She is struggling out there, but as we saw with Elise Perry earlier in the first innings, she struggled to get going, but then she was able to get through the gears the longer that she was out there.
Wareham coming in to bowl to Bates, who swings hard at that and again doesn't get all of it, out towards Ash Gardner, who will pick up inside the boundary. It's been slow going, I think it's fair to say, with this innings so far seeing. How many boundaries do you reckon? Don't look at the screen.
No, I'm not, but I've just had my dinner really quickly, so I'm not best placed to answer that.
This is heaved into the leg side, out towards deep mid-wicket for 1 more from Kerr. I don't see how the 2 correlate, but...
4?
Correct. Well done.
What a guess.
What a guess. 3 for the bat of Kerr, 1 from Bates, but Bates' strike rate currently stands at 55.
Yeah, she's just signalled for a new pair of gloves as well. There's hot and sweaty work out there.
She's on strike now as Wareham bowls, chopped into the turf, out towards Phoebe Litchfield. That's well fielded. Throw comes in with 1 taken. Bates will be frustrated. I mean, it's a horrible feeling, like you knowing that you're sort of holding the team up. A bit like when you forgot your accreditation the other day.
Yeah, that was so stressful. I've actually opened the batting with Susie Bates once for Kent.
Well, you've become...
I don't know where. I think everyone else was playing for England, because I don't know why at that time I was opening the batting, but my strike rate was better than hers that one game.
This is hit firmly through the offside. Actually beats the infield, and the single will be taken. It's all singles really at the moment. 44 for 1. 2 balls left of the 9th over.
It is, but it will be really frustrating for Susie Bates. But I just feel she, you know, all she should do now for this, you know, while she is struggling, just try and get up and down the wicket, get Amelia Kerr on strike. She's finding it a little bit easier out there, and 1 boundary can change very quickly.
Takes a step to try and access the leg side as Bates misses really, and it's a dot ball to finish an over that sees 5 singles. In fact, it's 4 singles. We've still got a ball left, so there is still time for a boundary.
Yeah, there is. She just doesn't look comfortable. She's not still when she's playing the shots.
Wareham bowling to Bates, who does get a good chunk of that, out towards the boundary at deep mid-wicket, where Gardner fields. And it will be 1 run. So 45 for 1 after 9. They're going at a rate of 5 and over. They need to double that, really. 104 needed from 66 deliveries. Australia, who currently are 1 from 1, like their opponents tonight. This is the final round of matches, if you like, in this little phase. At this point, after tonight, we'll be halfway through the group stages already.
Yeah, I know, it's gone so quickly, hasn't it? The game's just come thick and fast. Had a lot of double headers to start this tournament. It's just slightly slowed down with a couple of single headers. But I just feel like the tournament's heating up, and, you know, for the neutral, we hope we can get a thriller here. But New Zealand, they're well behind the rate. Susie Bates is really struggling out there, but she just needs to stick in there, because Elise Perry and Beth Mooney, 2 of the best batters in the world, they also struggled to start on this wicket. But, you know, you just feel that if she can get one out of the middle, find the boundary, you know, things can change so quickly. So she's going to have to face Ashley Gardner here. I think the Aussie spinners, I think, have bowled better than the New Zealand spinners in that first innings so far.
Ash Gardner in for her second over. 8 coming from the first. Bates trying to play the reverse, and she gets a nice piece of that down towards where we are. The boundary is, I think, going to be found, and it is. A good effort from Megan Schutt, who was running for all she was worth. But Bates gets 4 to start the over. 49 for 1. And 100 now needed from 65.
Yeah, that's a nice shot from Susie Bates. Gets it so fine. She sets herself early for that shot. I've seen her play that shot a number of times. She gets a lot on that, and Megan Schutt, she's quick, but wasn't quick enough there.
Down the track comes Bates, working the ball with good timing out to deep mid-wicket, and she suddenly looks a little more confident out there.
Yeah, it can just take one boundary, you know, you're feeling so frustrated, you're not trying to, you know, have a slow strike rate. She's been trying to find that boundary, it hasn't come off yet, but sometimes it's just 1 or 2 shots just to make you feel a little bit more confident, a bit more comfortable at the crease as well.
Nudged in the air, and could be 2 here. No, it'll be picked up by Annabelle Sutherland. Sean's in touch. I heard your comment about Tash looking like a football fan. I said actually a Millwall fan. I don't know why I said Millwall,
yeah.
But your picture on the website where you're screaming at something. Well, Sean says, I'm a Millwall fan and I love cricket too. Loving the Women's T20 World Cup. I'm laid up in bed at the moment with Charcot, I think is the pronunciation. Foot, I think it's a sort of nerve damage, I think.
Ooh, ouch.
Pulled away into the leg side it goes, out towards the field of Wareham, who picks up to the right of mid-wicket. 52 for 1. 2 balls until the halfway stage of the innings.
Well, the cricket's been a bit of a godsend, I think, for people. My mum's just had to have shoulder surgery. Hi, Mum. And, you know, she's had cricket all day, every day for the last week.
Deep in the crease. Kerr will pull that ball round the corner. Again to the very busy Wareham, who feels like she's in the action the whole time. Shoulder surgery.
Yeah, she...
Oh, no.
Ironically, went
on.
to see the physio to get something else sorted, and then slipped on her way out of the physio and broke her shoulder. Yeah, not ideal.
There's a nice looking shot, but it could be bringing trouble. No, it's dropped by Elise Perry. Would you believe it?
What is going on out there this tournament?
It's a toughish chance, but you've seen them taken, and you've seen them taken from her as well. So the over comes to an end with 9 from it. The required rate 9.5. They're only 1 down here, New Zealand. Bates 20 from 26, Kurt 28 from 27, and it's 54 for 1, chasing that target of 149. So go on. So she fell out of the physio.
Yeah, pretty much fell out of the physio, bless her, but she's on the road to recovery now. Had a little bit of nurse duties while I was at home, but my dad's having to take over now. Not sure he's the best nurse, but...
Well, the bedside manner, not necessarily.
But yeah, no, she's on the mend now. But luckily for everyone, they've got cricket all day. They can listen to the men's test series and the T20 World Cup. So everyone's pretty much sorted, aren't they?
You've set me up beautifully. Well done, you, Tash. 5:45 tomorrow morning, third day from Multan, with England at 96 for 1, the wicket that has fallen in that men's test in Multan is that of Ollie Pope. Got a second ball duck. He had to open the batting for England because Ben Duckett took a nasty blow to the thumb when he was taking the catch to conclude the Pakistan innings at 556 all out. But Joe Root and Zach Crawley are there for England, with Root on 32 and Crawley a runner ball 64. And you can follow that game tomorrow morning from 5:45 and 5 Sports Extra, BBC Sounds, BBC Sport website and app, for the analysis from our chief cricket writer Stefan Schemmelt from the second day, our team out in Multan. And if you want to watch in-play highlights of this game, you can do so now. Same place, BBC Sport website and app. We've also got our live text commentary of this game. So loads of ways to follow the action and be part of the conversation as well. Right, the drinks have almost been concluded. I'm going to get out of the way, and Daniel Norcross is standing by to take up commentary. Daniel, coming in to join you, Tash Farron.
Just on that last ball before the drinks break, that drop from Elise Perry, I wouldn't say it was a sitter, not as easy as Maddie Green's drop earlier in the first innings, but I mean, when do you ever see Elise Perry drop a catch? And we've seen a lot of drops in this tournament that normally we would see be taken easily. I just feel like maybe we need to get out there and take a few high catches, because I'm not really sure what's going on. We've seen so many drops, and Elise Perry, it wasn't a sitter, but for Elise Perry it was.
I'd love that.
Yeah, should we get out there?
Yeah, I'm not doing the catching. I'm not doing the catching, but I'll knock them up.
Whack them up.
Yeah, too right.
Let's get Lids out there.
Definitely get Lids out there. Best fielder in my lifetime.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. Right. Into the attack comes Sophie Molyneux, who opened the bowling, don't forget. With 95 needed from 10 overs. It's highly unlikely, but you never know. Bates on strike. Down the wicket. She goes, his bowler. First ball. That was fired in. It says 54 miles an hour. In fact, if anything, even a little quicker than that. And it's kind of like an undercutter. And Bates has come down the wicket. I think Molyneux's seen her coming, or sensed her coming at any rate. And that's hit, about 7 or 8 inches from the top of off stumps. Great bowling from Molyneux. And she's made the breakthrough. 54 for 2, first ball after drinks.
Yeah, that is really clever bowling from Molyneux. You just felt that she got the sense that Susie Bates obviously was trying to get on with it. She came down the wicket, as she does often. And Molyneux, even though it didn't look like it get up, it almost looked like she was bowling sort of that round arm, and as you said, Dan, like the undercutter, so that it didn't get any sort of bounce, and it just hits halfway up the wicket. That's such clever bowling, a huge wicket. You could tell by Sophie Molyneux and Alyssa Healy's celebrations that they know how big that wicket is.
Well, it's huge. It's put New Zealand in real trouble at 54 for 2 with 95 still needed, and you know what I'm going to say. They need divine intervention now.
They do.
And as luck would have it, Sophie Devine has walked out to the middle.
Lucky that.
Yes.
And she's in great form. Got a half century in that first game against India in quick time as well. But you just feel that this run chase is on Sophie Devine. She needs to do something special out here tonight to get a team over the line.
Molyneux is into Devine, who defends her first ball firmly into the covers. Packed cover field. 4 in a ring from short third. Point cover extra. That's where they are. And we've got a long on down here and a long off as well as Molyneux is in, and this is driven firmly again by Devine. She'll get her first run as it goes to the right of extra cover up towards that long on. Is that we've got Tali McGrath out there. We've got McGrath and Sutherland as the long off and long on to give them the extra foot of height.
Yeah, they are long.
They are long. They are long. There's a deep mid wicket, deep backward square leg. Molyneux in, fires one in again into the pads. She wants a run, does Devine. She's done really well there. She just decided that was a run, and she went. Mealy Kerr wasn't sure what was going on. She's given the thumbs up to Sophie Devine. I think you just do what you're told here at this point, Mealy.
Yeah.
She says run, you run.
That was great running, though. It didn't look like it was a single at all. It went straight to point, but they made it in easily.
Molyneux into Devine, who pushes off the back foot. There isn't a run this time as Molyneux moves to her left to field. Be slightly careful, not off every ball. One ball left in Molyneux's third over. She's such a dangerous bowler. She doesn't really... It's not... Look, there are certain services in which she will turn the ball, but she's not really trying to turn it much here. She's just trying to fire it in from a low trajectory.
Yeah, her and Lindsay Smith, very similar, actually.
Yeah. In she comes again. This is pushed back to the bowler by Devine. End of a wicket taking over, to the glee of Aussie friends and family who are sitting down in front of us. 56 for 2, 11 overs gone, 93 needed off 54. What a stark contrast this is to the glum South African faces we saw sitting in front of us yesterday.
We had Danae van Niekerk in front of us yesterday. She wasn't a happy bunny.
No, I would say she lacked gruntle. There was plenty of gruntle gone missing there.
And South Africa, they dropped a few catches last night.
So much of it about. It's weird, because, you know, look, the trajectory of women's cricket has been on an upward curve constantly. More runs are being scored, more boundaries are being scored, more catches are being taken.
Bowlers more skillful.
All of that. And part of it is the conditions, I think. It's fearsomely hot, it's very close. It's like, you know, this is not like when we were in South Africa 18 months ago. Nice wind whipping up, and it's just a different kind of heat. It just wasn't as intense. But I wonder if there's something to do with the lights. Megan Shoot starts a new over. First two cost just the 2 runs. The first ball is driven by Meadykert, short extra. Can't beat the fielder, and every dot ball now is a dagger in the heart of the Kiwi run chase.
Yeah, I think there must be something to do with the lights. Because, you know, these international teams, you know, they're used to playing under lights, probably apart from Scotland.
There's Healy standing up, and Kerr tries to cut a ball that wasn't quite there, and it sort of rebounds off a bit of Elisa Healy, gloves and pads, and there's no run. Shoot has bowled 14 balls, taken 1 for 2.
It's ridiculous.
It is absurd. It's like Marizanne Kapp yesterday. And this is here in Sharjah, as Danny Morrison might say.
Yeah, she's got the keeper up, but Megan Shoot is just one of the most consistent seamers out there.
Shooting again. Oh, it's been hoiked in the air. Is it going to land in no man's land? No, it's going to be caught. It's caught by Sutherland, running in for the long-on boundary. She's gone long-on to long-on. And Kerr, who's gone for the pull, just came onto her a bit faster, I think, than she was expecting. It went high in the air, down to long on, and yet she advanced on the ball as well, so she just was no position to play the shot. And Sutherland running in, took the catch well on the run, and Kerr's got to go. And now, if you're a New Zealand player, fan, whatever, you've got to know that the game has gone. And now what happens is you start thinking about net run rate.
Yeah, you do, because they are top of the table because of their net run rate over Australia.
That could collapse here, because they got that 58-run win. The way net run rate works is pretty simple. It's runs for, runs against, and the number of overs in each inning, so to speak. So what New Zealand want to do is try and keep at least a positive net run rate. So in their mind, if they make it to 90, then they'd have lost by 58. Then that would have wiped out the 58 that they got against India. So I'm not saying that you go so conservatively, you're just trying to score 34 runs, but just have that in your mind about where you want to get to, because short of a miracle, as the left-handed Brooke Halliday comes in, defends her first ball into the covers, there's no run. It's hard to see how you get over the line here. Shoot has now got 2 for 2 in 2.4.
I wouldn't be surprised if after this over she actually bowls out, because then if she's bowling like this, then New Zealand are going to be so far behind the game, and you know there's probably no chance of them getting over the line.
Shoot in, short, pulled round the corner. It'll just be the single though, as Beth Mooney moves to her left from long leg, almost deep backward square. A rare run from Shoot. That's the third of her bowling, 57 for 3.
Yeah, not bad. Only gone for 3.
Now Devine won't be thinking the way I'm thinking.
No.
Nobody be thinking like that.
They won't be thinking like that. No. You know, until I don't know, potentially they lose a couple more wickets. But with Devine at the crease, anything can happen. She normally starts quite slowly, but she can go absolutely berserk out of nowhere. She just needs to get a feel of this wicket.
Shoots into her last ball. Shoots third over. And this is, oh, that dropped. I think that was an edge through to Healy, standing up. Devilishly difficult. And Healy raised their eyes to the heavens. I think there were two noises there that I heard, as basically Devine was trying to play a sort of a late dab, and the ball was very close to her. So see it again. Big edge, and they just stick or they don't, because Healy's standing up, and there's a massive deflection. Actually, it gets onto the webbing, but she couldn't quite get the webbing to stick around the ball. So 2 for 3 off 3.
Yeah, not bad, is it?
57 for 3, 8 overs remain. The target 149, 92 lead off 48. We're almost at 2 runs a ball in a place where run scoring is difficult. Orcs.
Yeah, no, it is Orcs. They've just got themselves into a bit of a rut. Susie Bates, she wasn't able to get going, and Amelia Kerr, they've just, this rate is going to be so hard to get now, and it's a big drop from Healy, but they're still in the driver's seat.
Wareham into the attack. The first ball is worked along the ground by Brooke Halliday up to long on. It's a full ball on off stump. 58 for 3. Brings Devine on to strike. This field has moved hither and yon. It's got left-hand, right-hand combination. People aren't quite sure whether they're supposed to be here. You need a short fine leg, I think. You tend to. They're keeping a square leg up inside the circle. So deep mid-wicket, long off, long on, and a deep cover.
Yeah, they're trying to entice Devine to go across the line here for that big shot over square leg.
And she drives back to the bowler. Bump ball, I think it is. Brilliant. Brilliant catch from
the
Wareham.
relief on Wareham's face that she was able to get her hands up in time.
Wareham didn't want to wear it.
No, that was going in the chops.
Short and strappled up to Sutherland at long on. And they get a single. Sutherland and McGrath. This is the nature of the athleticism of this team. They just move around all the time. They'll be at long on and long off for the next over as well. And they'll get there in double quick time. It's worth actually just watching their movement at the end of this over. As Wareham is into Halliday, and she, it's caught her backward point. She went for the reverse. Got quite a nice connection on it, really, but has just plonked it straight into the hands of Sophie Molyneux. And New Zealand have lost their 4th. They're crumbling here. They're 59 for 4.
Yeah, really full from Wareham then. Actually, Halliday did well. It just came off the edge. She almost, the bat hit the floor, and then it came off the outside edge straight into short third's hands. She's disappointed. She actually did well to get as good a connection as she did on that. And another wicket falls for New Zealand. Australia have been so clinical out there with they've just been on it with the bowling. There's been no loose balls. It was so hard for them to score in the power play. And then when one wicket has fallen, then they're just kind of going in clusters here.
They are a fearsome team, so efficient. Yeah, they've had a couple of drop catches, and they'll look at that, and they'll probably have naughty boy nets as a result, and probably have to do 12 laps of the track as punishment. But they're just fantastic to watch. They're different gravy. Everything they do in the field is magnificent.
Yeah, and apart from that ball a couple of balls ago where they didn't quite know where they were going, they're like a well-oiled machine. They just kind of move. It doesn't look like anyone's kind of telling each player to go. They just know exactly where they need to go in the field.
Maddie Green, right-hander in the attack. That'll help things. She looks to cut a ball. It's too close to it. Goes through to Healy, who takes well behind the stumps. And New Zealand have just stopped scoring runs at all here. 2 off this over since the drinks break. What have they got? About 6 runs. Lost a couple of wickets. As Wareham is in and goes back into a crease, pushes into the offside. Devine wants a run. Throw comes in. It's a good throw, but Devine is rapid between the wickets, albeit that in doing so she's given away strike, because that was the last ball of the over. 3 from it. Maddie Green's off the mark. 60 for 4. 13 overs gone. Devine 2 off 7. Green 1 off 2. The target 149 is 89 runs away in 7 overs. That is nearly 13 and over. it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, it's not looking good, is it? And I just, I think why Devine batted so well in the first game, she actually, for once, had a platform to come in on. Because, they hadn't, before that win against India, they'd lost 10 T20s on the bounce. And you just feel like this is a bit of a carbon copy that, they've not been able to get ahead of the rate in the power play. They've also lost wickets. And then when Devine comes in, there's almost too much for her to do.
Now, you've got to be clear, this isn't fatal for New Zealand, but the difference here is, I tell you who's the biggest recipient of joy from this? It's Pakistan, whose net run rate is okay after India's timorous chase the other day. They'll be looking at this and licking their chops. Bowser, first ball. Sutherland into the attack, replacing Shoot. Green goes across her stumps and clatters it. The ball, rather, clatters into her stumps. And a smiling Maddie Green toddles off almost as soon as she's got there for 1 off 3. Great bit of bowling, target the stumps. And let the batter do the rest for you. I understand what she was doing. She was trying to paddle it up and over, or ramp it, if you will, up and over Healy, who's standing up very bravely to the stumps. But all she succeeded in doing was exposing those stumps and get bowled.
Yeah, it's a good option from Maddie Green, but just didn't execute it at all. Completely missed it. It was a quick ball from Sutherland, 72 miles an hour, and it's clever actually from Healy. She's, normally to Annabelle Sutherland, she'd be standing back, which probably on this wicket would make it a lot easier for the batters. They would have felt that they could come out of their crease, maybe put the bowlers off their lengths even, sorry. So Healy standing up to 72 miles an hour, which is pretty good going, but Maddie Green, yeah, it was a good option, but just completely missed it, and brings Izzy Gaze out to the crease.
Right, here comes Sutherland. Has that got another one? Yes, 2 in 2. Gaze has given out LBW. Now, I think, well, probably, they refer, no, I think Sophie Devine saying, on your bike. Yeah, there's nothing there for you.
Absolutely plumb.
Well, it's another great bit of bowling. You bowl straight. The previous ball was 72 miles an hour. That was 57.
Yeah, slow ball first up as well. As a batter, facing Annabelle Sutherland, you know that she can bowl it quick, and that is such clever bowling. They must have, maybe in their tactical meeting felt that Izzy Gaze was susceptible to that slower ball. So to get that out first ball, that's probably the last thing that Izzy Gaze was expecting. So once again, really clever bowling from Australia.
60 for 6 is a score, and may I refer the right honourable gentlemen and gentle ladies to the comment I made some moment ago.
Yeah.
90.
You're in now. They need, yeah.
Do you know what? I think, I'll double check for you, I'm pretty sure that if they go down to really heavy defeat, which they are doing, Pakistan might leapfrog them and go into second, because then they would have played 2-1-1, lost 1. New Zealand would have played 2-1-1, lost 1.
But Pakistan's net run rate is actually okay.
It's okay because India let it be okay. Yeah.
Not over it, Dan.
No, I'm not. I'm not sure he ever will be. Here we go, hat-trick ball. So who on strike? Oh, she carves it to back for a point. There's no run. Typical, isn't it? How many times have we seen that? Grace Harris does a fielding. How many times? That might be about the 6th or 7th time. Maybe Hypercourse let us know that we've had a hat-trick ball in this World Cup. There's been plenty of them, but none have yet occurred. Right, here comes Sutherland into Tahuhu, who thinks that she's going to wind up for a massive, great heave, and in the end gets a slower ball, which she just bumps into the onside and picks up a single, which finally brings Devine on strike. Now, we said plum earlier. Slower ball, impact, umpire's call, and by a whisker. An absolute whisker.
That's I guess she still would have been out, but would have lost her review.
Yeah, she would have lost the review, and it would have been, it saved us 2 minutes, which is very kind of her. Sutherland in on the pads, clipped away nicely by Devine. They'll just get the single, 62 for 6.
She's bowling really cleverly here, Sutherland, just kind of going up and down with her pace, sort of trying to not be predictable for the batters, but each time, each ball, however quick or slow each ball is, it's pitching in the perfect area to hit top of off.
Last ball of the over to who? Slow ball. She's pushed into the onside. It's pushed up towards long on. It means that, again, Devine's going to be starved of strike because who's going to keep strike at the end of the 14th over. New Zealand 63 for 6. Falling in a heap here against a brilliant Australian side. They were 54 for 1. They did lose 5 wickets for 6 runs, which is quite the thing. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of tweets that have come in. One from Ravi Nair. He says, it's the first time I've heard buglers play the classic Hindi song. Now, I'm sorry about this if my pronunciation isn't perfect. Pyar Dewana Hota Hai, which translates as Love Tends to Be Crazy, from the 1971 film Kati Patang, Kite Without a String, at a cricket game. Love it. It's the first time I've heard bagpipes played at an Australia-New Zealand game as well. Hello, Lydia.
Hi, Dan.
Georgia Wareham is going to bowl the 15th over to on strike, and she pulls it away for 4, down to deep backward square leg, or long leg if you will. Bit of a drag down, a rare bad ball today. Australia have been so on the money. Now, Hypercourse has also been in touch to say, to underline this proud part of Australian tradition, Belinda Clark's famous 229 not out at the 1997 World Cup featured 22 fours and an extraordinary 141 non-boundary runs off 133 balls. That is an effort. Wareham in, bowls a full ball, which is driven into the offside by Tahu. She's going to pick up a couple of runs here. A 4 and a 2. Devine's even thinking about a third. They're going to come back for the third. I say, Devine, she had a little bit of an injury problem not too long ago, but that's gone by the looks of it, because she is tearing across the turf.
She was rapid. And actually, Tahu, for New Zealand, they ought to be thinking about getting her up the order, because she can give it the long handle, Dan. And when they're behind the rate, you need to have a bit of an injection, don't you?
Yeah, maybe not so much of your Brooke Hallidays and your Maddie Greens,
no,
maybe a bit of your Leah Tahuhu.
Yeah.
Who? Tahuhu. By the way, Hypercourse finishes that tweet. I say it's the only time in ODI history that someone has physically run 100+ runs at a 100+ strike rate.
Wow.
I mean, that's Belinda Clark, though. She was different. Wareham into Devine. Devine, well, she wound up for a big old whack, but in the end she could only dig a full ball out back to the bowler. 4-3 dot, 70 for 6. I'm keeping my eye on the number 90, because that is what, if they get to 90, will keep New Zealand's net run rate at positive or even, it would be.
Oh, right, OK.
I mean, it's an arbitrary figure, but...
So the 149's gone out the window now, really.
Oh, I gave that up some time ago, don't you think? I don't know. Call me old-fashioned. It's driven back to the bowler.
I'll have to admit that, I'm with you on that one.
I mean, I know cricket's changed, Lids, but there are some verities that are always with us, which is that Australia don't concede 79 runs in 5.2 overs on a slow deck when a side's 6 down. Wareham in, and Devine... Well, she's going to get a wide for this. So it started to advance, then realised it wasn't there, and very wisely got back into a crease. And the umpire signalled wide, 71 for 6. So I'm keeping an eye on 90, which is 19 runs away. Wareham in. Down a wicket comes Devine. Drives firmly up to long off. But of course there's a fielder there, and it's Talia McGrath who throws in on the bounce, 72 for 6. 9 have come from the over, which is very profitable, but unfortunately the required rate is 14.9, which is something of an issue. Wareham in, Tahuhu drives into the offside. She'll get another run up to McGrath, who comes in from the boundary. 10 off the over, 73 for 6. Small crumbs of comfort for New Zealand as they look to minimise the damage that's going to be caused by this rampant Australian side. Favourites for the trophy, holding the trophy. They've held it 6 times in 8 editions, and at the moment they look like the best team in the competition. More from you, Lydia, and then to take you through to the end of the game, whenever that may be, it will be Henry Moran.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah, I have to agree. They've looked the strongest side out of all the games that we've seen. From the way that they've batted, their ability to rotate the strike, hustle between the wickets, and then the display that we've seen with the ball in hand and in the field, crucially. Yes, there's been couple of catches that could have been taken, but their fielding, their ground fielding in particular, Henry, I think, has been the benchmark, really.
They're relentless, aren't they?
Yeah,
amazing.
They are.
Just amazing. Here comes McGrath and bowls a ball which is helped round the corner towards fine leg. Could have running, but Devine could be in trouble here because the throw came in. A bullet arm from Wareham. We are going to go upstairs. The umpire has made that signal from square leg, Brenda Rathi, and so Anna Harris is going to be called into action with the score currently 73 for 6. Is that about to become 73 for 7?
Umpire review for a run out.
No.
So batter's grounded there. Satisfied batter's made her ground before the wickets are broken. Ready with my decision for the big screen.
That is, I reckon that's a record for decision making. That's a bit like when they race to do the pit stops in the Formula One. How quick can you get it done?
Yeah, that's what we like, Anna. She's on board with all that, I reckon, as well.
I'm with you. 74 for 6. Devine is whipping that round the corner. Another brilliant piece of fit. I mean, goodness me, that's such good work from Wareham at fine leg. So, 75 for 6. The target is 149. And we're into the 16th over. So it ain't happening. We know that much with a required rate of 16 and over. But can they get to that 91 that would keep them top? Or, forgive me, hold on a moment, this is pulled away to the next side. Or is it, actually? I wonder if that was a drop from Healy eventually at the end of all that, because Tahuhu pulled it into her thigh pad. I'm sure she got some bat on it, and Healy has not managed to hang on.
No, it was a delayed shot, really, from Tahuhu, because it was a slower ball into the surface, and looks as if there was a couple of sounds there, or a couple of bounces off the body.
McGrath is in with a slower ball. It's nicely driven as far as cover. And there's another dot ball. So that 91, we think, keeps their net run rate in the positive, forgive me. So that is what we're looking at. Australia would be 2 from 2 and continue looking just marvellous.
They do. They do look marvellous.
Yes. Pulled, is it? No, misses it. And McGrath does an off-stump rattle back. They're 7 down. Tahuhu went for the big heave-ho. And McGrath strikes. Australia celebrate. And there go AC/DC again. The little off-cutter. Tahuhu was through the shot. And there goes another wicket.
I think for New Zealand now, it's about trying to learn from this performance and move forwards. I think selection-wise, they could have gone an extra spinner. Maybe someone like Tahuhu sat out for this game. But then you have someone like Tahuhu in your batting lineup, and on this sort of surface, actually, sometimes you need someone who can hit well straight down the ground, and even, you know, to that heave-ho area of mid-wicket. So it's a tough one for New Zealand today. Devine, she just didn't come in soon enough either, did she? That's always...
I'd open with her.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they to and fro, don't they, with their opening partners, Devine and Bates, for a long time, and then they try and split them up because they don't feel they've got the depth in the side.
I'd be tempted to run chase like this, big target.
Yeah.
Just get a quick start, maximise those power play overs, put some pressure on the bowlers. Rosemary Mayer, right-hander, is going to play that nicely round the corner down towards long leg. At least Perry is running for all she's worth to get there, and it's a couple of runs taken. End of the 16th, 77 for 7. It was against New Zealand in the semi-final of 2020 when Elise Perry, forgive me, it was the last group game at in Melbourne at, what's that smaller venue in Melbourne called? No, you know the one.
Junction Oval.
It was exactly. It was there, and where Australia played New Zealand, and Elise Perry got that injury that ruled her out of the knockout stages. It felt like such a shame for Australian cricket, given her status as such an icon and the final at the MCG and everything else. But she's fit and firing now, happily. It's sort of, you always worry with those bad muscular tears if it's going to affect someone going forward, but she's moving as freely as ever. Here comes Sutherland, and this is hacked down the ground on the bounce. It'll be collected by the fielder Wareham, who appears to have magnets in her hands because it always seems to go to her. 78 for 7.
She's an absolute gun in the field, isn't she, Georgia Wareham? I mean, if you look at their boundary riders, you've got Georgia Wareham, Ash Gardner. Who else is there? Talia McGrath's out there as well. Megan Shute is doing the deep cover because she's absolutely rapid. Well, she's a slightly older lady these days, but she's quick across the turf.
Sutherland bowls and bowls up. Mayer goes. Just 2 for her. New Zealand 78 for 8. Australia rampaging their way towards a mighty big win.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And they're using their pace bowlers as well, which is interesting. They're using McGrath and Sutherland to close the game out. Certainly Sutherland, who will be using plenty of variations and slower balls, but they're doing the job for Australia. And another one to go. Rosemary Mayer just for 2 for her. So they're 8 down now, New Zealand. And I think it's more indicative, that total, because of the chase that they had on their hands, or they have on their hands, that they felt they have to go for it. But as we've been saying, well, as you and Dan have been saying, that 90, Henry, is something, I wonder if they're aware of it in the dugout. Quite possibly, I don't know.
Well, one thing you don't want to lose in tournament cricket as quick fire as this is when you lose, make sure you don't lose too bad.
Yeah.
I know it's easier said than done against this Australia team, but it can have such an impact. Sutherland runs into bowl to Eden Carson, the new batter, down the leg side. That'll be wide. 79 for 8. And I know New Zealand's massive win against India will help them in that regard, but still.
Yeah, if you're going to lose, you don't want to do too much of a good job of it.
I mean, when you're talking in the terms of how much you lose by, when you take on Australia, it tells its own story. Sutherland bowls a ball that is eventually played. It's a slower ball outside the off stump, and Carson will get 1 towards deep cover. I think that we can only see the back of the heads. I wonder if that's James Sutherland below us, the former head of Cricket Australia. And if you recognise the surname, well, it's daughter Annabelle that's bowling at the moment. And Will Sutherland, she's a big hitting all-rounder.
He's good, isn't he? Is he still at the Renegades? Melbourne Renegades?
Yeah. 80 for 8 the score. Devine is there on 6 and swings at that. Gets a single probably only down towards Ware and below us. 7 from 14 for Devine, which is a little bit of a disappointing return for her. We've got 2 balls left of the 17th over. 81 for 8.
Yeah, Australia will be keen to close this game out as quickly as they can. It is hot out there. I know the last couple of days hasn't been as warm. It's still very toasty, I can confirm.
This is played back towards the bowler, leading edge off the bat of Carson, but it's to the left of Annabelle Sutherland, and she can't possibly get down to it. As we see Australia just tightening their grip on the game. There was a partnership of 47 between Bates and Kerr that gave a little bit of hope, but since then the biggest partnership we've seen has been 15. Here comes Sutherland. Oh, goes right through the swinging bat of Carson. And 4 overs, 3 for 21 is a very good day's work for Annabelle Sutherland with the ball. The only thing that might give a little bit of hope to other teams is Australia did lose 8 wickets, so they showed that they are vulnerable in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And teams will be looking for any sort of weakness in Australia. They're on a massive winning streak in T20 World Cup cricket. It's something ridiculous, like 12 or 13 games unbeaten. It might even be more than that in T20 cricket. Yeah, it's a 12 match winning streak in T20 World Cup matches. The last time they lost was in that 2020 opening game against India, which was a long time ago.
Molyneux into bowl to Devine, and she's bowled. And once again, first ball of an over from Molyneux sees a wicket falling. Devine goes, the captain, 81 for 9, and this is falling in a heap for the White Ferns.
Yeah, it's just a quicker ball. We've seen that from Molyneux all evening, really. She's just looking to dart the ball in. She's got a low release point, quite a round arm as well. And Devine, you can't really blame her too much. She was trying to go big to this sort of shorter side, deep mid-wicket, and she hasn't been able to make the connection. But I think for New Zealand, they will need to think about how they can get her in earlier in games moving forwards, because she just didn't have enough time to make an impact on this game. That's a shame, because she was in such good form coming into it.
We're not far from the end here. This one is racing through. We're only at the start of the 18th over, but they're 9 down New Zealand with just 81 on the board. Their target of 149. Well, we know that ain't happening. As Jonas comes to the middle. Right-hander with Molyneux sniffing a quick victory. This is chipped down the ground. It'll drop short of Sutherland, who's fielding out there at long on. And it's so interesting watching the body language of Australia, because when they celebrate, there is that sense of business.
Yeah, 100%. Everything they do is with purpose.
Molyneux bowls. This is defended again. It's quick. It's darted in. There's never a feeling of unbridled shock and surprise at success. You know, some teams think, wow, we've done it. Who'd have thought it? For them, it's, yes, we've done it. Obviously, we've done it.
Of course we have.
Molyneux with a little bit less on that, perhaps. There's an appeal for LBW. The pace was taken off it. Will they go upstairs? Healy is, I think, agreeing with whatever Molyneux has said to dissuade her from doing so. 82 for 9. Interested to see the replay of that.
Eden Carson just had a little grin on her face as well.
2 balls left to the 18th over. Here comes Molyneux once more. This is driven past her. She dives but can't stop it. She almost dived in the way of somebody doing the worm. Body in
she can do the worm. That's the thing.
There you go.
Sophie Molyneux can do the worm.
Very important
I'm pretty
skill.
sure she might have done it on the stage when Katy Perry was performing.
You're right, I think she did.
Remember that?
It's one of those things that she and Dan have in common. Molyneux is in, bowling, push back towards the bowler, and there is no run. 18 overs gone. Molyneux finishes 4 overs, 2 for 15. Outstanding spell.
I would love to see Dan attempt to do the worm. He's been pulling off a few shimmies in the car, hasn't he, on the way?
Yeah.
Mainly on the way back when I've been travelling back with you guys. There's a few sort of arm movements going on. All arms and legs, really.
I know. He's quite the mover when he gets going on the dance floor, old Dan.
Bit of nightclub, isn't he?
Yeah, well...
You'll give it a good go as well, Henry, won't you?
Well, my nightclubbing days are long since gone. Oh, dear, right. By the way, tomorrow we've got plenty more action for you, cricket-wise, as we see Ash Gardner prepare to bowl the 19th over. At 5:45 tomorrow morning, the first test between Pakistan and England. Day 3 underway from Multan, with England looking to try and respond to the massive total from Pakistan. Gardner bowls, whipped out to mid-wicket for a single, 84 for 9. And when play does resume tomorrow, England will be 96 for 1, responding to 5-5-6 all out. But 2 games for you also from the Women's T20 World Cup. South Africa, Scotland. Here comes Gardner. This is nudged into the onside. That'll be a single again to square leg. 85 for 9. That is underway UK time at 11 AM, and we'll be on air just before that at 11:45 on the BBC Sport website and app. So that's where you'll find that first game while the test match is ongoing. You'll find us there, and then the second match will be on 5 Sports Extra. And that second game that we've got for you tomorrow is an intriguing one. India against Sri Lanka. Here comes Gardner to bowl to Carson, chipped up in the air. Can anyone get underneath it? Not quite. There was 3 converging upon it, but the ball lands safely. So just keep your eyes out for that Ronald email from Preston to say, can you let us know where the games are going to be tomorrow? So there is your answer. Here comes Gardner, and this is a nice little tickle into the onside that'll be picked up by Phoebe Litchfield, running as if she's trying to save every run in a tight game at the end of a World Cup, as opposed to a massive win in the group stages. 87 for 9. Gardner round the wicket, bowling a ball which is punched into the offside. Ooh, could be trouble here. Throw comes in, misses. It was Megan Shute. And just a little moment of nerviness as we see another single taken. 5 from the over so far.
Yeah, the intent that the Aussies have got in the field, even when they know they're going to win comfortably, is so impressive.
High up on the bat, pushed into the offside. Jonas looks a little startled by one that did turn and bounce. And it was a big advantage for Australia winning the toss and batting first. I would be very interested to know how this game would have gone had it been New Zealand that got the first opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the the stats have favoured the sides batting first more often than not, and I think that's just because pitches generally got a little bit slower and a bit lower. Scoreboard pressure as well. Obviously, with the ball in hand, you can control what you're doing. But yeah, they've just been so dominant, and it shows where all the sides are at. The highest score before this game was 124, wasn't it? And that was yesterday. So Australia rock up and they post pretty much 150. Just shows what can be done here at Sharjah.
Here's Megan Schutt bowling a ball punched towards extra cover, no run. Schutt, who's into her final over, has got figures of 2 for 3.
No. I'm so pleased they've stuck with Schutt, because she could have easily been someone they could have moved on, because she's, again, a similar sort of player to someone like Devine or Bates, coming towards the end of her career, but she is still so effective, still does the job.
Running it again, pumping those arms past umpire Redfern. Bowled! She finishes with 3 for 3. New Zealand all out for 88. Their net run rate takes a huge hit for Australia. It's yet another statement about what they can do, what they expect to do as well. The reigning champions, this brilliant side, they just keep going. They've won this game so convincingly. New Zealand, chasing 149, have been bowled out early on in the 20th over to lose by 60 runs, all out for 88.
That is a walloping win, isn't it, from the Aussies? Yeah, after a pretty watchful start, they were just able to really read the conditions. They finished well out of the power play, and they just kept going, and you just felt for New Zealand that it always had to be someone like Sophie Devine or Bates or Kerr, and unfortunately neither of them, or none of them, could come in and make an impact on the game, which is a real shame. But Australia yet again just showing how dominant they are, Henry.
Indeed, and as the players shake hands down below us and we get a bit more AC/DC, we see Australia again. There is a sense of, I don't know, and when I say there, it doesn't seem to be a sense of joy about the victory. I don't mean that in a remotely derogatory way. I mean it is just what is expected. They're not looking like a team surprised to win by 60 runs.
No, I think you mentioned it earlier. It was a business-like performance from Australia, and that is their biggest strength, I would suggest, is their professionalism and how they pride themselves on their athleticism, their skill, making sure every ball is done and carried out within their control, and that's led from the front. You look at the senior players that they have, they set really high standards. Someone like Elise Perry, who is, I guess, the benchmark of the ultimate sports person and how they should prepare and go about performing. So they have excellent role models within the group. So the younger players, really, they're doing well not to be the ultimate professional.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? And as you say, going back to the first game 2 tournaments ago, last time they lost, you have to say you'd be brave to bet against them in this one, because they've been brilliant. And New Zealand set 149 as a target. Bates struggled a bit, 20 of 27. Plymouth didn't repeat the heroics of the last game, 4 from 7. 29 from Amelia Kerr was the top score, and the only other player to make double figures was Leah Tahuhu, 11 from 10. You look at the number of players bowled as well, 7. It was, and 7 and an LBW in there, so 8 with the stumps in play, and that tells you quite a lot about what other teams need to be doing in terms of how they're going to approach these surfaces.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the percentage of that. I think the highest has been around 33%, but as you say, Henry, judging by that scorecard, you would imagine that that'll be higher for Australia today, and it's keeping it simple as well. It's knowing what works here and making sure that you nail it, and that was the same with their batting. There weren't many dot balls for them. They were skillful enough to rotate the strike and really run between the wickets, and that was from ball 1. I think you have to do that here, don't you? You have to really try and put the fielders under pressure, try and enforce mistakes early, and then try and get momentum that way. But it was, it was a joy to watch, you have to admit. A professional outfit doing their thing and showing why they're the world's best.
Indeed. And lovely to bring that news to our listeners in Australia early in the morning there. But another mighty win for Australia. We're going to hear from Megan Shute now with Laura McGoldrick.
Match awards, Sivakumar Mayappan, who's the Chief Operating Officer of Sharjah Cricket Stadium, is presenting it to Megan Shute with 3 for 3 with her performance with the ball. Megan, those are some numbers, young lady. How are you feeling after that performance? Looked hot out there.
I feel like I've lost a few litres, but feeling good. Obviously, that was a pretty crucial match for us, and they played very well against India, so to come out and win like that was really cool. When you were at the innings break, how did you feel about the total, and what did you talk about, how the bowling plans, did they change at all given the conditions tonight? Yeah, it really ebbed and flowed in that first innings there, and I think when we got off to a good start, we thought maybe 160 and then 150, and we probably lowered the total and probably left a few out there, to be honest, but we knew if we started well in the power play, we could really peg them in the middle, and that's what we did. In terms of your performance from game 1 to now, was there any changes that you made in between the games? I don't think so. I'm pretty low maintenance, so I know I didn't change much. But yeah, I think as long as we do the simple things, and that's what we spoke about coming into here on the low and slow wickets, as long as we keep the stumps in play, that'll be pretty crucial. And in terms of preparation, you know, we have talked about the saunas and how you guys have prepared. It is hot again, and it's going to continue to be that way. Do you think that it's helped, or could anything prepare you for these kinds of conditions? Yeah, definitely. I mean, we had a pretty strong emphasis on fitness coming in, and as much as we hated our S&C at the time, it's paid off. And I think in a tournament like this, when the heat's so extreme, it's really going to come into play. So only 2 games down, and you can ask that again in a week's time. Yeah, I certainly will. Another good win, and it all bodes well for another championship. But how is the feeling in the camp right now? You know, it's just business as usual? Yeah, I mean, we're focusing on really enjoying the small successes, and at the end of the day, it's a World Cup, and we do need to enjoy it whilst we're here. And for a lot of the girls, this is their first World Cup, and yeah, it's pretty special, and taking it 1 game at a time. Well, you're doing a fabulous job. Congratulations, and awesome effort tonight. Well, thanks very much. Cheers.
Thoughts there of Megan Shute chatting to Laura McGoldrick. Right then, Lids, before we say goodbye, interesting that the phrase she used there, are you finding ways to enjoy it? Because for so many of these players, they've trod this path so many times, and they know what they're doing so well. Yeah, they do, and I think for every Australian player, they've got that hunger to come in and make an impact, because they want to keep that legacy that they've got. You know, they don't want to be the new player coming in and who is suddenly part of an Australian side who isn't winning. So every player has got that hunger and that determination to have a real impact on ICC events, and make sure that they keep that reputation and those world titles that they've done so well to earn over the last few years. And you know, you look at them from a wider point of view, their domestic structure is phenomenal, and it's been brilliant for a long time. So players coming into international cricket, people like Annabelle Sutherland, Talia McGrath, even someone like Sophie Molyneux, they settle into it so quickly. And you look at other teams around the world. India have now got their own franchise competition in the WPL, of course, the 100 in England as well. So those sides and other sides will be looking on thinking, okay, well, how do we keep that pipeline of players coming through who are natural winners? And that takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of investment, and Australia are reaping the rewards, and they have been for a long time now. Yeah, indeed. Thank you so much, Lydia Greenway. Thank you to Tash Farrant as well, Daniel Norcross too. What a win that is for Australia, whose net run rate is now plus 2.52. New Zealand is into the negative now at minus 0.05, so they haven't managed to keep it at above plus. So what it does for them in the table is that we see now as it updates in front of me, it is Australia, then Pakistan, who are actually now second on that run rate, ahead of New Zealand. And so Australia, Pakistan, New Zealand, and then India and Sri Lanka. Those 2 teams play tomorrow. Massive game for India. They can't afford to slip up as they did against New Zealand in their tournament opener. Other match for you tomorrow sees South Africa in action against Scotland. So that is all to come tomorrow. The way it's going to work on 5 Sports Extra tomorrow morning, by the way, is that we will have the men's test match from Multan underway live from 5:45. Then we'll be live on the BBC Sport website and app for the Scotland against South Africa match before Sports Extra brings you India against Sri Lanka. Local time UK, 11 a.m. start for Scotland, South Africa, 3 p.m. for India, Sri Lanka from Dubai. We look forward to bringing you coverage of that game. BBC Sport website and app for all of the highlights from this tournament, as well as match reports, tables, everything else you might possibly want to see. And if you want to head to BBC Sounds and subscribe to the Test Match Special podcast, you will find all the analysis from the Test series, this tournament, No Balls, a cricket podcast as well. So many ways to follow BBC Cricket. Thank you so much for listening. Australia, just keep on rolling on.
This is the ICC Women's T20 World Cup, brought to you by the BBC.
Listen on BBC Sounds.